Yoga pants, sorry.
I think main streets are dying all across America. And so to throw, they'd say $125 million into, for example, like a permanent promenade. It would overhaul Main Street in Salt Lake City and convert it to a more permanent promenade would likely cost about $125 million. This is according to the KSL.com article. I don't understand. So one thing I don't understand about that is, and I'm going to get back to my other thought in just a moment because I think you have some hot takes on main streets across America that you visited. $125 million. There must be more to this than meets the eye because I can't figure out how come it's only $125 million when we just talked about that 2-block area from Delta Center being revitalized in the revitalization zone over to City Creek, which is going to cost billions.
Yeah.
Billions. And the Main Street project that they've been talking about for many, many years, again, since before I was born, apparently, would be from South Temple to 4th South, as well as 1st South from Main Street to the the Salt Palace Convention Center. So that's a pretty big area. But I think main streets across America are suffering. I see it all the time, even in small town Utah. Unfortunately, it's kind of sad what's happening. What did you see when you went to Denver?
Denver is such a great example of why we shouldn't do this. The 16th Street Mall in Denver. It's exactly what they're talking about. Restaurants, activities. I went down there. It was beautiful. It was great. You could travel, jump on the train, and then shortly after, I went back a few years later, rampant drug use, crime, rundown, graffiti, closed shops all over the place. It was heartbreaking because I get it. It sounds so cool. This is the shiny new penny. Remember, we did the exact same thing, the Gateway, right? We built this entire open air restaurants, movie theaters, museums. We did so much, and it is a ghost town now. Oh, wait, we'll build it.
There's a fountain.
You're right. There's a little fountain. I think we have that exact same fountain in little old Kaysville. How about City Creek? City Creek was going to redevelop or revitalize downtown as well, right? And we even covered it. We temperature controlled a lot of it. And are we a booming downtown because of City Creek? We keep getting sold this bill of goods, probably by developers that say, no. Just let me develop this area. I'm going to breathe life into this. And we just don't live like this anymore. We don't travel from all over the state to go downtown Salt Lake and go walking down the local mall, outdoor mall.
Dressed in a business suit on a Sunday,
yes,
Saturday?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we keep we play the same notes over and over and over again and wonder why no one likes this song. Well, if I just play it louder, if I play it with a bigger piano, people will love it. No, we don't love it. You know how many times I've been to City Creek? How many times I've traveled from Kaysville? It's going to be really easy, Debbie. How many fingers on the hand?
You're not.
One hand I've done.
Spoiler alert, you're not the demo. You're not the demographic for a mall anyway. So
I've got disposable income. How am I not the demo?
Because you're.
But you think the 16-year-old daughter?
Because you're near a 48-year-old or something like that man. I mean, you're allergic to malls.
There's no one that spends more money than a 48-year-old man. I would think I'd be exactly the demographic.
Never drive from Kaysville 30 minutes to be like I'm going to the mall today. You just won't.
No.
I totally meet my daughter at City Creek, and we go to lunch. We do a little shopping. We're the demo. You're not. So I don't take what you say. I take what you say with a really large grain of salt, just like that really big piano you're playing over there. I think we've also got to got to admit there's some mass confusion with this when it comes to marketing. We're trying to figure out what to do with this 2-block area from the Delta Center over to City Creek Mall, and they're talking about dropping billions of dollars into that. I'm sure it'll have outdoor dining, which I'm begging for. I'm sure it'll have a place for a brand new Abravanel Hall. It'll have museum space. It'll be the sports and the arts. And it'll stay busy because we've got a draw, right? We've got now hockey and we've got basketball. And then we'll have the arts as well. We know that the arts draws a ton of people downtown. The confusion comes in like, okay, now we're going to redo what, Main Street too? Mm-hmm. We're gonna redo this area going north to south, and we're gonna do this area east to west. I mean, how much are people willing to buy into this? And I think if you're going to continue with this project, it's going to cause, first of all, I don't know where the money coming from, and it's also just going to cause a lot of confusion. Not to mention a ton of construction. And are we going to get this all done by the Olympics? Because we're getting the Olympics. We're getting the Olympics for 2034. We'll hear that announcement in July. I mean, it's not official yet, but in my brain, it's official. So we're going to get all this stuff done. And how many, more decades do we have to work on the Main Street project? It's been going on long enough. If you haven't figured it out by now, now you have the Smith Entertainment Group interested in revitalizing another section of downtown. Let them do it. Let them have at it. That's my view.
When we come back, we want to take some phone calls here, right? 801-575-TALK. Do you think this $125 million revitalization of Main Street, is this what's going to bring you downtown? Is this the golden ticket where you say, oh, yeah, if I have some more outdoor dining, if there's a public art gallery, if there's some more street dancers?
I want a farmer's market.
Because this is the plan.
I want a farmer's market year-round.
This is going to bring you down.
801-575-TALK. Money well spent or a waste? Let's take your live phone calls next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
A lot of us are filling our workdays with podcasts.
When you're working, go to KSLNewsRadio.com.
Click on Dave and Debbie's podcast and pick a topic and story length.
Podcast with Dave and Debbie. Then get to work with KSL News Radio.
Hi, Doug Wright, and it's the time of year when we're all catching up, getting the yard ready to go. We've got kids' games we're attending, graduations, birthdays, just around the corner, all of these things. When you're planning a special event or any event that you want to feel very, very good and special about, the place to go to satiate the appetite and to celebrate all those great events, it's Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. The best food you have ever had is waiting for you at both locations. There's Hotel Park City. They have such a great ambiance, and the view out the window is incredible. You want to get up into the mountains? It's Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, Hotel Park City. But all of the great things that are happening in the heart of downtown Salt Lake City, 275 Southwest Temple, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. They're going to a ball game, going to a movie, a concert. Yeah, it works up an appetite, doesn't it? Whatever the special occasion, or no special occasion at all. Go to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
Healthcare with human kindness is here. It's at Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Together, we have a common purpose, partnering with you in health and healing using powerful medicine, powerful technology, and the greatest power of all, human kindness. You'll know it when you see it, because human kindness is in every care site and in every caregiver. Common Spirit Health. Hello, human kindness.
It's time to take your adventure to a new level in an RV from a Motorsportsland RV Center. Hurry in now for our Memorial Day pre-sale and save thousands on your next travel trailer, fifth wheel, motorhome, or toy hauler. Don't spend this Memorial Day weekend sitting at home when you can enjoy the marvels of nature right here in Utah. With a full season of camping just ahead, right now is the perfect time to get into the RV of your dreams. We've even got clearance models at over 50% off MSRP. At Motorsportsland RV Centers, we offer real prices without hidden fees for freight, prep, orientation, or even propane. If you sit down with another dealer to make a deal and they start adding all sorts of crazy fees, it's time to stand up, walk away, and come to a Motorsportsland RV Center for a hassle-free, low-pressure buying experience. Come and see us in Salt Lake, Mill Creek, Spanish Fork, or at motorsportsland.com.
Let Motorsportsland help you get away.
Motorsportsland.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you have a drain that's clogged or backed up, after you've tried the plungers and products, the next step usually involves some kind of drain snake or cabling equipment. You see, sometimes the blockage is far enough down the line that you need special equipment that most homeowners just don't have. That's where the Drains Department at Any Hour Services can help. A drain snake can clear most blockages and get the water flowing again, and clearing blocked drains is what our Drains Department does day in and day out. So if you're a homeowner with a drain line that's clogged or backed up and you'd like one of our drain technicians to come and snake the line for you, it's only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. I want to tell you about our famous "You Don't Need a Warranty" warranty. That's right. It's a warranty you don't need, but we give it to you anyway. Let me explain. Most warranty problems for siding, gutters, and windows are caused by not installing stuff right in the first place. If you rush the work, cut corners, or use subpar materials, you're just begging for problems later. At RGS Exteriors, we don't tolerate careless workmanship. We slow down, focus on every detail, and use only the best materials. We prevent warranty work by doing the job right in the first place. That's why the 10-year everything guarantee we give you is also known as our "You Don't Need a Warranty" warranty. We absolutely will be there if you need to use it. But honestly, you probably will never have to. Done right the first time. That's the RGS way. For siding, gutters, and windows, call 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsexteriors.com.
What does an Olympic venue, Memorial Weekend, music, food, canine athletes, and handlers have in common? The 20th anniversary of the Soldier Hollow Sheepdog Classic presented by Purina Pro Plan. Tickets, visit soldierhollowclassic.com.
You know, there's a lot of news happening all day long, and at KSL News Radio and KSL TV, we have teamed up to make absorbing news so much easier. So all you need to do is sign up for the free 3 Things You Need to Know newsletter. It's a combined effort every day from KSL News Radio and KSL 5 Television. And to sign up and get that newsletter straight to your inbox, text the word inbox to 57500. Again, inbox to 57500.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, charges for the man accused of hitting and killing Santaquin Police Sergeant Bill Hooser will be announced in the next hour. Second, Utah's median age is increasing because the large population of baby boomers are aging and less babies are being born. And third, Salt Lake City is working to restore some of the native plants that have all but disappeared from the area's wetlands. There's a plan in place to bring back biodiversity to the Salt Lake City area. We're going to look for a high today of 76, and right now with all that sunshine, it is 66 downtown. Let's get you back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic.
We're talking about the plan that's been dropped. It not dropped as in scuttled, but literally like dropped a 215-page plan on a website to revitalize, redo Main Street. If you're wondering, like, what are we talking about revitalizing a different part of downtown? Yeah. That would be from the Delta Center over to City Creek. But this is the Main Street plan that's been in the works for 60 years. And Dave spotted this story today, and he's like, officially drop it. Just be done with this.
You couldn't figure it out in 60 years. Someone beat you to it. Someone came in, and I'm talking about Ryan Smith and the Smith Entertainment Group, in 5 minutes and came up with a better plan than you've been mulling around in your brain for the last 60 years.
Now, this would have been in a 5-block area of downtown on Main Street, like 4 South to South Temple, and then over to the Salt Palace. And it would have had different themes for different blocks. There would have been a restaurant row. I'll tell you, that's already a problem. Just having a bunch of people waiting on one row to get into get a table at a restaurant, you got to mix it up. You can't just have restaurant row. Restaurant row, then there would have been a block for a public art gallery. There would have been a performing arts block, an all-ages Wonderland, and then Japantown. So I like the concept to some degree, but I think it just in general, the idea of bringing people down to downtown because they've revitalize now another area of Main Street. I don't think that's the ticket. I'm on Team Dave on this one.
801-575-TALK or taking your phone calls. Do you like this idea? Do you think this is the solution to the downtown problem? Because downtowns across the country are dying, and everyone's trying to figure out, how do we revitalize downtown? How do we do it? Well, this has been the plan, and this has been the hope, is that if we just create more walkable areas, then people are going to flood downtown. If I want to go for a walk, I've got the most beautiful mountains in America that I can go for a little hike. I don't need to walk down smoggy downtown with my kids and push my stroller around, where there's no parking, by the way.
Hi, Brian.
Hi there.
What do you think?
Well, first of all, let me just give you the correct name for the new hockey team, the Utah Robber Barons, because that's exactly what these teams do. These rich people say, okay, we're going to do all of this stuff, and we're going to revitalize, and what does that even mean? And but we want you to pay for it, and it'll get, well, sure, it'll all pay for itself, and it never does. So Utah Robber Barons. As far as downtown goes, I never go there. There's no place to park. If I do go down there to park, it costs me $15 or $20. All of the shops down there are high end because they have to be, because it's expensive real estate. And I don't buy high end. If I'm going to buy something expensive, I buy it on the internet so that I can
shop it around.
Yeah, so I can get the best price, et cetera, et cetera. I've always thought that Main Street needed to be like in Europe they have the what are called pedestrian zones, and let the tracks run down through the middle of it and not have the cars on the street. I never drive down that street, and the shop owners think that that's such a terrible thing, but it really would not be.
Well,
but as far as I'm concerned, you're right. Dave is right.
Yeah.
The world has changed. We're not going to change downtown by revitalizing. Salt Palace draws a lot of people. The Symphony Hall brings in a ton of people. What you need is to have draws to downtown, not accommodations once you get there. You need to have something to bring people down.
Yeah, we may be out of the era where it's a build it, they will come. We probably ought to bring them downtown first, test the waters. I will tell you, though, Main Street for me, if you haven't driven in downtown Salt Lake in a while, I drive it probably, I would, a couple of times a month, but I avoid it right now. I find it really confusing to try to navigate the pedestrian traffic there, the cars that are parked along the side of the road, and tracks. And tracks. And then you throw in the lack of parking at times, although I did find parking not too long ago over there on 3rd South, and I'm like, bingo, I hit the jackpot. That's amazing. It was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Parking is also a big problem. And the idea that everybody's going to jump on tracks from the suburbs, if that's not happening now, I don't know that pouring a bunch of money into Main Street is going to fix that.
Kirk in West Valley, what do you think, Kirk?
Yeah, I agree. That's a dump. I've lived here for 68 years, and I think the last time we were in Salt Lake was to see, it was either Cats or Phantom of the Opera, and we just don't go downtown for anything.
Have they been working? You said you've lived here 68 years?
Yes.
So have you heard that this has been in the works for 6 decades to revitalize Main Street?
Oh, yeah. I see this time and time again, and nothing happens. They build these places, and people may go for 1 or 2 years, and then it's done.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest worry. Thanks, Kirk, for the phone call. Is we keep getting this Field of Dreams moment. That's what you said, Deb. It's if you build it, they will come. If you build the Gateway, people will come. If you build City Creek, people will come. If you bring a hockey team in, people will come. There's so many promises, and we're just not seeing it happen. It's not like every time we walk out for lunch at Broadcast House and we're downtown that we are just shoulder to shoulder with people. This is not New York City. Denver, which has a 16th Street mall, and it was a very cool idea, they are 3 to 4 times our size. Denver is. And that thing's a disaster. crime, drugs, run down, graffiti, buildings empty. It's not working. We keep playing the same song and wondering why no one likes the music. Just accept that this isn't their jam anymore. This is not the music we want played.
Straight ahead, we're going to take you live to the Utah County Attorney's Office. We're expecting prosecutors to file criminal charges and or at least announce them in the next 10 minutes or so. In the killing of Police Sergeant Bill Hooser, of course, he was laid to rest yesterday. And the big question is, will prosecutors go for the death penalty?
Over 100 miles an hour, this despicable human being was trying to cause more death on that road.
The governor offering us more insight yesterday as to what went down during the chaos on May 5th. We expect to hear even more about this case and what unfolded straight ahead.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top local story this hour. Park City feeling confident that the Sundance Film Festival will be staying here in Utah. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
The Utah Film Commission says not to count out Park City just yet. The state was picked to advance to the next step in the bidding war to host the festival. The commission will now begin putting together a proposal on why it should stay. The deputy city manager told the Park Record, Park City's history with the festival should give us a competitive edge. It was just last month the festival announced they are considering relocating it after 2026. Some other cities showing interest include Atlanta, San Francisco, and Santa Fe. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. A pickup crashed into a bus carrying 53 laborers to farm fields in Central Florida, caused the bus to go off the road and roll over. 8 people were killed, and Florida's Highway Patrol says 40 people were hospitalized. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down just a little on the day, the NASDAQ up about 44 points. And our KSL weather looks like it'll be sunny with a warming trend through the rest of the week. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
You know what's great about KSL's traffic coverage? Trained traffic reporters and real listeners.
Trading information and making the commute safer and faster for everyone.
Every 10 minutes on the 9s, we have you covered on KSL News Radio.
When the weather warms up, it's like a stampede, except instead of dust stirred up by hundreds of hooves, it's a cascade of phone calls to Advanced Window Products. This is Jeff Kaplan. Soon as the sun shines and the snow's gone, people want new windows and frames from Utah's #1 custom window maker, and the wait for installation grows longer. But right now, you can get near the front of the line by calling for a quote and get $2,500 off when you purchase 10 windows or more. That's on top of the incredible savings for the highest quality double-pane windows and frames, any style, any color. See, at Advanced Window Products, they actually build the windows here in Utah, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. There's no middleman, and they can pass the savings on to you. They even offer buy now, pay later. So get in before the wait grows longer and get the $2,500 off. Get your new windows this spring. Make the call. Advanced Window Products, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100. Or visit AdvancedWindowsUSA.com.
Your neighbor Greg loves the springtime here in Utah, but he hates to paint, so he called Rhino Shield.
We live in a beautiful 2-story home that was built in 1916. Really been prepped and painted very, very poorly.
Rhino Shield ceramic technology is formulated for our unique climate here in Utah and is Class 1 fire rated.
We really had a lot of detail work, and the team at Rhino Shield spent really 4 days just on the prep work, and we were so excited to see that. And the cleanup was just impeccable.
Utah, get the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
We've gotten numerous compliments, and we've actually even had some of the longer-term residents of our community thank us for protecting the integrity of our home.
This offer is limited, so call now 435-246-4466, 435-246-4466, or rhinoshieldwest.com.
Go Rhino Shield.
Hey there, you in aisle 2. I see you by the fiber and laxatives. You still using those to manage your constipation with belly pain? If your symptoms keep coming back, you may have irritable bowel syndrome with constipation.
We want to take you live right now to the Utah County Attorney's Office, where County Attorney Jeffrey Gray is holding a news conference. Looks like it's just starting. We're expecting him to announce criminal charges, formal criminal charges, regarding the murder of Sergeant Bill Hoosier of Santaquin Police Department, who was laid to rest yesterday.
For the shooting death of Officer Shinners. Christine and Ryan last year, I guess maybe a little longer than last year, in the last year and a half successfully prosecuted the Jared Baum case. We have a tremendous team at the county attorney's office, excellent lawyers, and it's a privilege to serve with them. I am going to be making a statement, a prepared statement. I will not be taking any questions at this time. So first, I would like to express my sincere condolences to Sergeant Bill Hoosier's wife, Kinda, and their 2 daughters, Shaylee and Courtney. This is an unspeakable loss for them. We mourn with you and pray that you can find some peace and some solace in this most trying of times. On Saturday, after a short stay at the University of Utah Hospital, Michael Aaron Jane was booked into the Utah County Jail on suspicion of murder. Today, after having reviewed the evidence gathered so far by law enforcement, the Utah County Attorney's Office has filed formal charges against Mr. Jane. The charging document, called a criminal information, alleges the commission of 9 felony offenses on May 5th, 2024. Specifically, we have charged Mr. Jane with 1 count of aggravated murder, a capital felony, for intentionally or knowingly causing the death of Sergeant Bill Hoosier, a police officer for the Santaquin Police Department. 2 counts of attempted aggravated murder, each a first-degree felony, for attempting to cause the death of Trooper Dustin Griffiths of the Utah Highway Patrol and attempting to cause the death of a woman who had been a passenger in Mr. Jane's semi-truck. 1 count of aggravated kidnapping, a first-degree felony, for using or threatening to use a weapon in the unlawful detention of the female passenger in Mr. Jane's semi-truck. 1 count of burglary, a second-degree felony, for the unlawful entry into a dwelling with the intent to commit theft while fleeing police. 3 counts of automobile theft, each a second-degree felony, for the unauthorized taking of 3 automobiles while fleeing police. And 1 count of failing to obey the lawful command of a police officer to stop, a third-degree felony, for fleeing despite law enforcement officers' visual and audible signals to stop. The arrest and filing of the information are merely the first steps in the criminal justice process. Tomorrow at 3 p.m., Mr. Jane will appear before a judge in the 4th District Court to be informed of these charges. He will then be entitled to the assistance of counsel for his defense and to a preliminary hearing, where the state will be required to show probable cause that the defendant committed the charged crimes. The purpose of a preliminary hearing is not to determine guilt, but simply to determine whether the prosecution has enough evidence to proceed to trial. It is important to note that at this stage, the charges in the information are only allegations, including the allegations of his intent and conduct. Under our Constitution, Mr. Jane is presumed innocent until and unless proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. He is entitled to the assistance of counsel, a speedy and public trial before a jury of his peers, and to all the other rights afforded under the Constitution. At trial, it will be our burden to prove Mr. Jane's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, and ultimately it will be for a jury to decide whether we have met that burden. I am assembling a team of my best attorneys to achieve that end. By way of information, I would like to explain the most serious charge. Aggravated murder is a capital offense. Under Utah law, a person convicted of aggravated murder may face one of three possible sentences: the death penalty, life in prison without the possibility of parole, or 25 years to life in prison with the possibility of parole. If after the preliminary hearing, a judge decides that Mr. Jane should stand trial, he will be required to enter a plea to each of the charges at what is called an arraignment hearing. If Mr. Jane pleads not guilty at the arraignment, then by statute we will have 60 days to file a notice of intent to seek the death penalty. I know that this case has generated a tremendous interest from the public, and we have already received requests from the press for recordings and reports associated with the investigation. We intend to deny those requests. You may ask why. First, the investigation is ongoing. Second, and it bears reiterating, that under our Constitution, only a jury can determine the defendant's guilt or innocence, and the jury must do so based only on evidence that is admissible as determined by a judge, not on information a juror might learn from the press. Also, I would remind you that all hearings, including the trial, are public. It is both my goal and my sworn duty to see to it that justice is done in accordance with the Constitution. I will notify the public when it comes time to file a notice of intent to seek the death penalty. I will also make a statement after the trial concludes. Otherwise, I do not intend to make statements during this ongoing investigation and criminal justice process. I will not publicly opine on the evidence or on decisions issued by the court. I will not do anything that might jeopardize the integrity of this prosecution. This process will take months, so I ask for your patience as this case proceeds. Thank you.
That's Utah County Attorney Jeffrey Gray just wrapping up a news conference where the moment we'd kind of all suspected would happen happened. He announced that he will be seeking the death penalty against Aaron Jane, accused of murder in the death of Sergeant Bill Hooser with the Santa Quin Police Department.
Yes, that was the key where they say aggravated. That was the word that we were looking for.
I want to return. He said he wasn't going to take any questions, but it looks like maybe he is addressing a couple of questions.
Thank you.
No, okay. We'll have to find out from our Amy Kobabe, who's live in Utah County, what those final thoughts were from the county attorney. Not at all a surprise that he's going to be seeking the death penalty. I think we, as a community, expected that to happen. But Dave, you certainly have, unfortunately, a front seat to what a death penalty case can look like for a family. And we think of, Sergeant Bill Hooser's family and, his daughter speaking yesterday at his funeral.
There's been anger, sadness, grief, and confusion. I've spent the last few days thinking about what it was like for my dad to lay there lifeless and what that man took from us without remorse.
And what Courtney, her sister, Shaylee, and their mom will be going through as this death penalty case moves forward.
What's unique? I don't know how unique this is. Perhaps what's kind of peculiar is the county attorney will typically talk to the victim's family and discuss whether or not this is something that they should pursue. Should we pursue the death penalty in this case? And this is a really tricky situation for the victim's family, right? Because you're in the height of mourning and grief, and you're angry and you're frustrated. It's one of those things where I understand the intent of it, trying to communicate, let the victim's family know where you're headed, but everyone has a little different feeling toward whether the death penalty is appropriate or not.
in your case, it has with the murders of your grandmother and aunt. In case you are just new to the show, Dave's family has been dealing with this horror for decades now. His grandmother and aunt were murdered at the family cabin by two evil men who've since been convicted. And you have been dealing with the death penalty ever since.
Yeah, one man was convicted. Both were convicted. One man was sentenced to death, and he's been on death row since 1991. And it is appeal after appeal after appeal after appeal, and for what is that now? Over 30 years, we have been dealing with that. So the process, even if convicted, is so incredibly clumsy and truly unfair to the victims' families, because you are constantly having to relive and attend appeals and have media requests and have that scab ripped open time and time again. So even though maybe there's some people that say, oh, thank goodness, that's what you should do, this is far from over for the victim's family.
And I think you bring such an important element to this part of the discussion. Let's bring Greg Skordas on the line with us next, our legal analyst. I mean, there's 9 different counts, including, this death penalty, this aggravated murder count, 2 counts of attempted aggravated murder for allegedly trying to kill the UHP trooper, and also the kidnapping victim, who will ultimately ended up likely saving the UHP trooper's life, as she warned, it sounds like, from information that we've received here and other documents and other in the jail document that we got our hands on, that she warned the trooper, get out of the way, he's coming at you now. So we've got a lot to discuss here with KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas, and I also think that this is just the tip of the iceberg for the defendant, that there's going to be other charges coming along the way from other counties, because this was just an absolute horror story unfolding on Sunday morning, May 5th, across Utah.
Over 100 miles an hour, this despicable human being was trying to cause more death on that road, trying purposely to hit other oncoming cars, citizens racing to get out of the way.
Hey there, you and I'll
Dave and Dujanovic.
You know KSL is the only news radio for your car, right?
The only news radio for your smart speaker.
Come here in the morning. It's the latest news and traffic. In the afternoon, news and updated weather.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
One of the things I love about Master Electrical is that they have upfront pricing, which is probably something you've had an experience with, where you had somebody come out, give you a bid, and then once the job is done, the invoice has nothing to do with the bid you got.
Let's face it, you need new ceiling fans as summer sets in. Maybe you need to look at redoing your lighting to, just get that upgraded look with your lighting throughout your house. Or you bought a new EV, so you need an EV charger. Master Electrical is your go-to, and you're really going to love their upfront pricing guarantee.
Give them a call. They serve everybody from Logan to Santaquin, 801-543-2222. That's 801-543-2222.
They're always open, including for emergency services, so check them out online, masterelectrical.com.
The familiar comforts that brighten a child's day
Her name is Opie. She's a cat.
can mean even more for those with serious health challenges.
I have a lot of friends. My little sister. My stuffies.
Primary Children's Hospital specializes in activities and therapies, so even the sickest of kids can still be kids.
They've got dogs there. They help kids distract them from when they get needles or whatever.
Your support makes it possible. Become a smile maker today at kslkids.com.
The life of a small business owner. Keeping the lights on, calling all the shots. And then there's workplace accidents. 500-degree ovens, rusty nails. Danger lurks around every corner. Workplace accidents can happen, but there is an easy way to keep your employees covered. Talk to your agent about workers' comp coverage from Pi, or go to piinsurance.com and get a quote. Safety first, then Pi Insurance. Individual rates, offerings, and savings may vary, subject to policy terms and conditions. Not available in all states and situations.
For the last couple of years, we've done a lot of work about talking about boating, safety, how to have a lot of fun outdoors with the Utah Division of Outdoor Recreation. Ty Hunter joins us right now, Steve Bullock as well. And you guys have given us so many great tips over the years. Ty, let me start with you. What are some of the things we need to be focusing on as far as life jacket usage?
The biggest thing I think we can look at is just simply having people get a jacket that they want to wear. A life jacket doesn't do you any good if you don't wear it. And that's really what we want to try to get out there and see if we can try to make that kind of societal change out on our waterways, is to have people have those that are not required to wear their life jackets to start wearing them, and bring in that kind of that same change that we've seen on our ski slopes and what we've seen on our mountain bikes with that it's not required to wear a helmet on your mountain bike, and it's not required to wear a helmet while you're out on the ski slopes. Well, there are times, there are adults that there are times that it's not required to wear your life jackets, but we want people to be able to do that and take that care and safety, and most importantly, just be able to return back home and be with their families.
Steve Bullock, with Chief of Law Enforcement with Utah Division of Outdoor Recreation. Let's talk about DUI and boating, because I think people get out on the boat and they start throwing them back, and that's unsafe.
Yeah, there's a culture of drinking on the water, and it's legal to have alcohol on a boat in Utah. It's not against the law. What is against the law is the operator to be impaired or to have an open container. So the same consequences that happen to you on the road can also happen to you on the water. Your driver's license taken away, you're arrested, your boat is impounded. Our officers are trained in specialized field sobriety tests to be tested where balance isn't required. We're really good at detecting that, and we make those arrests. But there are consequences for yourself and for your passengers in your boat and your kids in the boat if you're drinking on the water. So we want people to be safe. Save it for the shore, but just be responsible while you're drinking.
There's so much more that I have to ask you. So if you guys don't mind sticking around for a little bit longer, and we just want to focus so much more on how to have fun in a safe way, because so many tragedies you've experienced, you've been a part of, and there's some simple steps that we can take to make sure everyone's having fun and staying safe with the Utah Division of Outdoor Recreation.
Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, charges for the man accused of hitting and killing Santaquin Police Sergeant Bill Hooser will be announced in the next hour. Second, Utah's median age is increasing because the large population of baby boomers are aging and less babies are being born. And third, Salt Lake City is working to restore some of the native plants that have all but disappeared from the area's wetlands. There's a plan in place to bring back biodiversity to the Salt Lake City area. We're going to look for a high today of 76, and right now with all that sunshine, it is 66 downtown. Let's get you back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Well, certainly the headline is that the Utah County Attorney is going to be seeking the death penalty against the man accused of killing Police Sergeant Bill Hooser on May 5th with a semi-truck. So the announcement was just made a few moments ago. We're going to go live to Amy Kobabe, who is standing by at the Utah County Attorney's Office. Amy, what can you tell us about? He made some comments. The Utah County Attorney made some comments there at the end after he walked away. Did he say anything new that we didn't hear during the news conference?
No, it was more of just they weren't taking questions, essentially. They did not refuse any questions as they all walked away. But we did learn a lot from this press conference, that he was booked, that Jane, the suspect, was booked on Saturday, that he is possibly facing the death penalty. There are 9 felony offenses listed here. I'm looking at the full probable cause statement, the full list of charges here, and from this probable cause as well, learning that that he was also after killing Sergeant Hooser was trying to kill and attack the Trooper Griffiths with the Utah Highway Patrol and the woman that had been held hostage in his truck, and those are part of these charges as well. Attempted murder in those cases. And in that one case of aggravated murder, the death penalty listed as a possibility here from the Utah County attorneys.
It was very interesting. Yeah, it was aggravated murder, attempted aggravated murder, aggravated kidnapping. And then it looks like the burglary charges, the auto theft, that came in as well.
Yeah, so 3 counts of automobile theft. They go through and list all of the times that he stole a vehicle from, at one point a homeowner let this man in, and then he stole their car as a thank you. So, definitely including that.
So, Amy, I need to ask you, when you said the homeowner let him in, I'm confused about that, because this may be updated information that you're reading, but as I'm reading the jail booking, the probable cause statement to keep him locked up behind bars, and they said that he broke into the home. But I didn't see anywhere where there had been
without the homeowner's permission. You're correct on that. Thank you. For correcting that.
I was. It would have certainly. It wouldn't. At this point, it sounded like anything went on that day. But does it seem like he's rolled in the other elements that happened outside of Utah County? For example, this chase went all the way to Vernal. Does it seem like he's just the Utah County attorney is just staying in the lane of what happened in his jurisdiction, and that do we know yet if Jane could face criminal charges from other jurisdictions and other county attorneys?
Well, it does look like they are including, the stolen truck near Vernal, the failing to stop at an officer's command. That's count 9. That would lead to that pit maneuver. So it looks like this whole incident, everything involved, is listed here, which would include those counts of theft, which were outside of Utah County, as we know. So it looks like it's all just this one day, everything that happened with this one defendant, as he's still a defendant now, not proven guilty. And he reminded us of that, the Utah County attorney as well, saying, it's going to be up to a jury. We're going to make our case, but it's all up to a jury whether he is going to be found guilty or innocent. And he also mentioned that there's going to be a possibility for, a innocent or a guilty plea here. It doesn't look like they're going to try for any kind of plea deal. Didn't get any kind of hints that way, but he did say, Jane is going to have the option to enter a plea, and they will have then 60 days to notify of intent to seek the death penalty if he does plea not guilty to this. So it looks like that is definitely the direction that they are going and going to pursue this. We also learned that tomorrow Jane will be in court at 3 p.m. to have these charges, read out to him by a judge. And so, he'll have to take that into consideration. And I don't think they're going to offer a plea deal, though. I really don't.
Amy Kobabe is reporting, was at this press conference with Utah County Attorney Jeffrey Gray. It seemed at the end he was describing how little information he's going to release to the public. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, definitely. And not answering any questions. There are a lot of questions we still have. We don't know the extent of his injuries from this pit maneuver. He was in the hospital for a week. We're not sure even what hospital he was in and what that investigation has looked like up until now. If he was answering questions, if they were able to even investigate, bedside and just try to question him on any of this, his intent. So some big questions there still that might not come out for quite some time because they are keeping the lid on this. And he even said, we're in the middle of an investigation still, and it seems like they're taking this very seriously, wanting to protect as much information as they can.
Thanks, Amy. Amy Kobabe live at the Utah County Attorney's office for us as the Utah County Attorney just moments ago announcing that he will seek the death penalty against Michael Jane, who's accused of running down Police Sergeant Bill Hoosier on May 5th.
Specifically, we have charged Mr. Jane with 1 count of aggravated murder, a capital felony, for intentionally or knowingly causing the death of Sergeant Bill Hoosier, a police officer for the Santaquin Police Department. 2 counts of attempted aggravated murder, each a first-degree felony, for attempting to cause the death of Trooper Dustin Griffiths of the Utah Highway Patrol and attempting to cause the death of a woman who had been a passenger in Mr. Jane's semi-truck.
And Debbie, in regards to not releasing the details in the information, the county attorney said the only people that need to know the details right now is the jury. And he doesn't want to taint the jury pool by releasing and letting them create some preconceived notions. And that was part of the reason why he said don't expect a lot of details right now.
But I do feel as though there have been a lot of details released. We have a lot of information, very detailed information from the affidavit of probable cause, which Jane was booked under, and that was affidavits filed. And so, and very detailed for a very important reason. They need to keep this man behind bars. And in order to keep him behind bars, is they have to lay out all they know, or a lot of what they know regarding the case. So there's body camera video, right? There's surveillance video that's not going to get released. However, we have so many details about this case, and this county attorney is walking a really fine line right now. He cannot run the risk of prejudicing a jury against a defendant who is accused of running over a police officer and killing him, also trying to kill another law enforcement officer who was on the scene, plus kidnapping, allegedly, a woman at knife point with the threat of throwing pepper spray in her face, who was stuck in the cab of a semi-truck with him. This is a really delicate balance right now, given the high level and all the eyeballs on this case. So let's bring on former prosecutor Greg Skordas, who's also our legal analyst, next to talk about that aspect of this case.
It's 10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bonas. KSL's top story this hour: 9 felony charges have been filed against Michael Aaron Jane, the man suspected of killing Santaquin Police Sergeant Bill Hooser. They include aggravated murder, which could carry the death penalty. Utah County District Attorney Jeffrey Gray told a news conference today he will not be answering questions or providing additional information about the case outside the charges filed with the court.
We have already received requests from the press for recordings and reports associated with the investigation. We intend to deny those requests.
Gray says his office will make a determination on whether to seek the death penalty after the preliminary hearing. Jane's first court appearance is set for tomorrow afternoon. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Another day of testimony today from former President Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen. Cohen's one of the key witnesses for the prosecution in the criminal hush money trial against Trump, who's accused of falsifying business records. Trump appealed the gag order imposed by the court in his case, which is meant to stop him from disparaging the court, the judge, or members of his family, and that appeal was denied. Your money at this moment: the Dow Jones average just barely down on the day. The NASDAQ is up just a bit as well. And our KSL weather looks like temperatures will stay in the 70s through most of the week. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:32.
We hope you have the right app on your phone for news. You probably have dozens.
But the KSL News Radio app, well, it makes our live stream super easy.
Plus, our talk shows are right there as podcast for your workday.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
I remember the very first time I drove a boat. It was because, I don't know if I should admit this, my father-in-law was like, here you go. Here, pull me. He was wanting to ski. No training, no boating. I think the statute of limitations has passed already, but joining us right now from the Utah Division of Outdoor Recreation, Ty Hunter and Steve Bullock are joining us right now. One of the things I want to know is, okay, where can I go to learn about boating safety?
It's very easy. Go to boating.utah.gov. That is a direct land, to our boating web page within the Division of Outdoor Recreation.
Ty Hunter, the boating program manager, and then Steve Bullock as well in studio with us. He's the chief of law enforcement there. Talk about education courses and that type of thing. I mean, how young can our kiddos be to start taking these classes? Because you never know when you even get family on the water when you're going to need somebody who's maybe a little young to jump in and help out.
Sure. So In Utah, you can operate a boat under the age of 16 with adult supervision. There is a requirement under law for personal watercraft. So if you're between the age of 12 and under 18, you have to take a personal watercraft safety course, and that is available on our website. Other than that, we don't have mandatory boat education in Utah like other states. We highly encourage it. We have some boating education courses on our website, again, at boating.utah.gov. A lot of times you can get a discount on your insurance for taking a boating safety course. But really understanding the rules and the regulations is what our rangers do. When they contact a boat owner, they're going through safety equipment vessel inspections, but then also encouraging them to understand what the requirements of the rules of the road are on the water and how to navigate on the water.
So I wasn't breaking any laws by running the boat.
Not knowing what you're doing?
I mean, a little green, you wouldn't recommend it, but I wasn't breaking any laws.
I didn't see you drive, so there could have been some navigation rules, but I think in general,
very safe driver. Very safe driver. Ty, when we were talking about boating safety, what are one of the things, briefly, maybe I should save this. You know what? I'm going to save this question because we're out of time, but we're talking to a couple of leaders out of the Utah Division of Outdoor Recreation, and I do want to learn more about like what you're focusing on this year as far as boating safety and what keys you want our listeners to know when we come back.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Gabby.
Hey, Gabby. It's Jennifer Coolidge. Hi. I'm so glad I reached you at 2 a.m.
Oh, of course. Anyone with a Discover card can call and talk to a real person 24/7. Now, how can I help?
Yeah, I used my Discover card to buy these yellow pleather pajamas, and I'm just not sure I'm pulling them off.
24/7 U.S.-based customer service. It pays to Discover. Limitations apply. Learn more at discover.com/creditcard.
As a roofer, spring means the start of my busy season, which means I've got to get organized. With help from Beacon, I can save time with Beacon Pro Plus and 24/7 access to live pricing, delivery tracking, order history, and more. Plus, this spring, I can earn $1,000 and the chance to win a $25,000 backyard renovation just by buying my CertainTeed shingles online with Beacon. No purchase necessary. Now that's what I call a spring cleanup. Visit BECN.com for official rules and to start earning entries.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate on June 1st at all Sinclair locations. And here's Heather Kelly.
We've got good speeds all across the Wasatch Front. No delays right now on I-15 throughout Utah, Salt Lake, Davis, and Weber counties. You'll also have a good commute coming out of Tooele County on I-80 and the 201 freeway. Now, we did have a report of a grass fire in Parley's Canyon. This was on the south side of I-80 heading east, right near the quarry, but we haven't seen any smoke or delays. Box Elder County has gone to the birds. Spring migration is here at Bear River Migratory Bird Refuge. See what visitors are chirping about with Box Elder County. For info, activities, and more, visit boxeldercounty.com. I'm Heather Kelly with traffic on FM 100.3 on KSL News Radio.
And we could see a few showers on the Wasatch Front today, but the rest of the week looks dry with a warming trend. The highs will be in the 70s up to 80s on Friday. Right now we're at 70 degrees. It's partly cloudy. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Let's talk about what we do know about these criminal charges and the horrible events that led up to today's announcement from the Utah County Attorney just moments ago about filing a death penalty case against a man accused of killing a police officer, Santaquin Police Sergeant Bill Hoosier.
Specifically, we have charged Mr. Jane with 1 count of aggravated murder, a capital felony, for intentionally or knowingly causing the death of Sergeant Bill Hoosier, a police officer for the Santaquin Police Department. 2 counts of attempted aggravated murder, each a first-degree felony, for attempting to cause the death of Trooper Dustin Griffiths of the Utah Highway Patrol and attempting to cause the death of a woman who had been a passenger in Mr. Jane's semi-truck.
And the county attorney, Jeffrey Gray, said at the end that he's not going to be releasing all of the details. We have a lot of information, but he's not going to continue to release a lot of the details of what happened because he said the only people that need to know the details right now is the jury, and he doesn't want to taint the jury pool by giving so much information that people start creating their own narrative before the trial.
So for those who aren't familiar, is that usually what happens after a major incident like this is the media will put in requests for body camera footage, will put in requests for, any kind of maybe audio or dispatch audio. And it sounds to me like he's going to deny those requests. And he's got a very fine line to walk here. I mean, there is an element of transparency that needs to be addressed with the public. This is a very high-profile case. And there are a lot of people who want to have more information about it. And the way you get more information is because the media is out there working on behalf of the public to get more information. The flip side of this is you have a very, as I said, you got a very high-profile case that involves the death penalty now. And you can't prejudice a jury, and you don't want to taint the process, because you don't want to get a case dismissed over, premature release of something that ends up getting causing problems in court, and the judge ends up having to consider, or the defense asks, we want you to consider dismissing the case because of this, this, and that. So he's in a spot. We're hoping to talk to Greg Skordas, who's a former prosecutor. He's, of course, our legal analyst, in just a few minutes to help us, better understand the inner workings of a situation like this.
Although there has been a lot of information already released. There's the probable cause affidavit where we got a lot of information. And then yesterday at the funeral, I can play a little bit from Governor Cox, who in his remarks described more of what happened even after Bill Hoosier was hit.
Over 100 miles an hour, this despicable human being was trying to cause more death on that road, trying purposely to hit other oncoming cars, citizens racing to get out of the way, traveling at speeds of over 100 miles an hour. A pit maneuver was initiated, and the chase came to an end.
So not only did this individual take his semi-truck, make a U-turn on I-15, hit and kill an officer, he immediately went after and tried to target two other individuals, a Utah Highway Patrol trooper, as well as a woman that had been riding with him. And then he goes on a high-speed chase where, according to the governor here, he was targeting other individuals, and people were having to dive out of the way for safety.
So we do know, as you pointed out, a lot about the allegations. We also know from the affidavit that was filed in order to hold this man, this defendant, in custody, they have to put out a lot of information about why they want this person held behind bars while they await charges to be filed. And that process is now playing out today with the announcement that we just heard a few minutes ago. But in this affidavit of probable cause that we obtained just a couple of days ago, I'm losing track of time, and it was yesterday we obtained this. Sunday night we got it. They spell out very clearly the allegations against him. There's this dispatch call, this 911 call warning that somebody is standing on the back of a semi-truck, and then we find out later that there was a woman that's allegedly being held captive in the cab of his truck as he's driving northbound on I-15, that he is accused of forcing that woman at knife point with the threat of pepper spray being put in her face at a truck stop in Beaver, Utah, which is a common place for lots of people to stop. And this is playing out. Now, what we don't know yet is, I don't know all the details about how this woman ended up driving with him to begin with. And we also don't know yet about the phone call that went to police to warning there was somebody standing on the back of a semi-truck. We don't know who made that call. We don't know if there was somebody standing on the back of a semi-truck. We also...
there was an odd detail that the caller told dispatch that the Hells Angels were targeting the driver of the truck.
Yeah.
So we don't know exactly what that means, who made that phone call, where did that come from?
A notorious motorcycle gang that has been, police and the Hells Angels have been at odds for decades now. I mean, it's just, they're notorious for a reason. They commit allegedly commit crimes. So that is an odd detail. We've also learned that it was Sergeant Hoosier who spotted the truck on I-15, attempted to pull him over. The semi pulls off the road onto like perhaps a frontage road or an off-ramp, and then blows through the stop sign or whatever and continues back onto I-15. We know that he was not compliant once cops got him pulled over, that the only thing he did was hand them the trucker log that he had with his name on it, which tells us that he was probably supposed to be driving that truck. And then we know that he locked the doors when the trooper tried to get him out of the car. We know the woman escaped and threw her hands up in the air and asked for help. And then we know that he drove off. And then from there, he turned the truck around and is accused of running down the sergeant and trying to kill the Trooper Griffiths and the woman who just escaped him.
And ultimately, when this individual was caught, stopped, crashed, so to speak, it was 165 miles away from where Sergeant Hoosier was killed.
And we also know that there is a family, and there is an entire community, and there is a state, and there is a police department who are mourning the loss of a man who was described yesterday during his funeral as an amazing father, as a girl dad, as a cop who found the profession late in life, who revamped their entire field training protocols, and so they could hold their new officers to a higher standard, who promoted quickly within the force. And this is a man that they were forced to lay to rest yesterday at the hands of just an absolutely chaotic and crazy situation that should have never have happened to begin with.
There's been anger, sadness, grief, and confusion. I've spent the last few days thinking about what it was like for my dad to lay there lifeless and what that man took from us without remorse.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and Debbie go out of their way to make sure you hear all sides of a story.
They're working the phones to get several viewpoints on for you.
Hi, it's Tim and Amanda. We get you the full story, too.
We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
When the weather warms up, it's like a stampede, except instead of dust stirred up by hundreds of hooves, it's a cascade of phone calls to Advanced Window Products. This is Jeff Kaplan. Soon as the sun shines and the snow's gone, people want new windows and frames from Utah's #1 custom window maker, and the wait for installation grows longer. But right now, you can get near the front of the line by calling for a quote and get $2,500 off when you purchase 10 windows or more. That's on top of the incredible savings for the highest quality double-pane windows and frames, any style, any color. See, at Advanced Window Products, they actually build the windows here in Utah, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. There's no middleman, and they can pass the savings on to you. They even offer buy now, pay later. So get in before the wait grows longer and get the $2,500 off. Get your new windows this spring. Make the call. Advanced Window Products, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100. Or visit AdvancedWindowsUSA.com.
The Utah Division of Outdoor Recreation is very concerned about your safety. They want you to wear a life jacket, get educated by taking a boating education course. Those are free. Not free? Let's find out a little bit more about that from Ty Hunter. Ty, what can you tell us about the boating education course?
We have an online vendor that provides these education courses.
Okay.
That put it. So that payment actually goes to them for the services of creating that course. And it is a nationally certified course. So if you take a course here and then you move to another state, or you're going to go boating in another state, this course can take that place and have that reciprocity to adhere to their laws out of state.
Can you give me a ballpark of how much that's going to cost me?
Well, right currently now we're looking at other vendors right now, but currently it's going to be about $40 to $45.
Oh, it's not bad.
So, but we're looking for one that is actually going to be a lot more affordable.
Steve Bullock is Chief of Law Enforcement with Utah Division of Outdoor Recreation, and I was driving home from work yesterday, and I saw paddleboarders on the lake, and I worried that they didn't have life jackets on. Talk to us about life jacket safety.
Yeah, what a beautiful time to get outside, right? There's the weather's warming up. It's a beautiful skies. We live in Utah. It's a beautiful place to recreate. We want people to get outside and enjoy boating. We want them to do it safely. If you're on a paddleboard, if you're on a lake or a reservoir in Utah, a life jacket is required for every person on your boat. If you're under the age of 13, you're required to wear it. There's a lot of great options of inflatable life jackets and waist-size life jackets to have that you can just have it on all the time. If you're in a paddleboard situation, we encourage you to wear your leash. So when the wind picks up, you're not getting blown. Your paddleboard doesn't get blown away as you're trying to swim back to it.
The Velcro, the leash around your ankle
exactly,
that I wear.
Yeah.
You don't want your paddleboard being sucked away because of the wind.
And a lot of the boating deaths that we've had in Utah the last few years and nationally have been related to those type of water sports activities and non-motorized craft. So even though you're like, hey, I'm not in that deep of water, open water is a challenge. Weather and wind and other things can really play a factor. We really encourage people to wear a life jacket in all those situations. All of our law enforcement officers wear a life jacket when they're on patrol on their boat. They have advanced training in boat operations, but you never know what somebody else is going to do or what nature might throw at you.
And final safety reminder, don't drink and operate a boat. From the Utah Division of Outdoor Recreation, Ty Hunter, Steve Bullock, thank you so much.
Any Hour Services can help unclog any drain in your house, whether you have a backup, a clog, or a slow drain you want fixed. Call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Achieving the extraordinary, getting things done. That's the Utah way. And that's Brad Wilson. He delivered the biggest tax cut Utah's ever seen, keeping more money in your pocket. And on the Second Amendment, when others caved, Brad Wilson stood tall, enacted constitutional carry. Wilson stood up to the EPA, sued Joe Biden to protect Utah's energy industry, and won. And when others backed down on illegal immigration, Wilson didn't buckle. He banned sanctuary cities. In the U.S. Senate, he'd bring the Utah way to Washington, taking Joe Biden's agenda head on. That's why over 60 mayors, 22 sheriffs, and leading conservatives across Utah are supporting Brad Wilson for U.S. Senate, because Brad Wilson's the tested, trusted Utah conservative for U.S. Senate. Join them and thousands more supporting Brad Wilson at electbradwilson.com.
I'm Brad Wilson, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Wilson for Senate.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, charges for the man accused of hitting and killing Santaquin Police Sergeant Bill Hooser will be announced in the next hour. Second, Utah's median age is increasing because the large population of baby boomers are aging and less babies are being born. And third, Salt Lake City is working to restore some of the native plants that have all but disappeared from the area's wetlands. There's a plan in place to bring back biodiversity to the Salt Lake City area. We're going to look for a high today of 76, and right now with all that sunshine, it is 66 downtown. Let's get you back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
What surprised me the most, and Jay Evanston's opinion piece that's dropped at Deseret.com, is the downwinders' compensation. And he asked the question, Dave, how many downwinders deserve compensation? The surprising detail for me is that a lot of them are getting like $50,000. For all of the suffering that was caused by the testing that went on in Nevada, the nuclear testing, I just cannot believe it's only $50,000.
Debbie, it's $50,000. Here's cancer, and here's $50,000. And the reason I know this is because my mom was a downwinder, lived in Ely, Nevada, right in the heart of this. Wow. And she says just about everybody from her graduating class has died from cancer, has cancer currently. And she absolutely believes that she will eventually die from cancer, because this was not a small area of the United States. This covered 3 or 4 different states, tons of different counties, affecting directly southern Utah. And Jay Evanson, you bring up a great question in your opinion piece. How many downwinders deserve compensation?
There have been lots of studies that have shown that the fallout from nuclear testing reached all 48 contiguous states. And the interesting thing about the current law is that it doesn't cover New Mexico. Well, New Mexico was the site of the Trinity test, the very first above-ground test, and there are people who suffered greatly from the fallout of that. They are not included. They would be included in the proposed expanded RECA, Radiation Exposure Compensation Act. But you can show there's evidence that the fallout reached all 48 states and Canada and Mexico as well. And you have to remember there were other countries doing above ground testing as well. How far did that fallout go?
So the current law was set back in
1990,
and that's where they came up with this $50,000 figure.
Yeah, 50,000.
I don't even think $50,000 was enough money back in 1990. That's just my opinion.
Probably not. If you were an employer working at a uranium mine, you can get 100,000, and if you were actually employed on the testing site, you can get 75,000. Those are the figures.
So, Jay, how difficult is it? Or like, who qualifies for this?
It's really not that easy. So you have to, under the current law, you have to live in certain counties in Utah, and there's a list of them. But you have to prove that you lived there during that time. And I was thinking about that. Now, I'm 65, so I was living in Arizona from about 1961 to 63 while they were doing above ground testing. How hard would it be for me to prove that I was living there?
I can tell you. Can I answer? So when I applied for the FBI, when it would have been in 2008 or 9 to go to work as their spokesperson here, they required me to go back to the age of 18 or 17, something like that, to fill in every place that I had lived. And I had to go back through. I was literally looking through old pieces of mail that my grandmother had sent me for a date stamp from the Postal Service to figure out where I had lived. It is really hard to go back retroactively 30 or 40 years before databases were invented, before we had computers, to figure out and be able to prove, like, unless you have an old utility bill,
right,
or an old lease that you've signed, I think it would be really difficult for a lot of people to prove this, Jay.
Yeah, the government did a study, and so it's been 34 years now since the bill was passed. And they've compensated about 54,000, I think it is, people. No, I'm sorry, 40,258, and spent $2.6 billion in compensation. But only 75% of the people who've applied for it have actually received it because of what you're talking about. Not only do you have to prove you lived there for 2 consecutive years, so you can't just find a census that has your name.
Yeah,
on
or
it.
just one utility bill.
Right. You have to prove
or
that
one
you're
lease
there
agreement that was 6 months long.
2 consecutive years, and that your type of cancer is the correct kind on a list of cancers. And there are a lot of experts saying that there are a lot of other cancers that are caused by radiation.
A lot of different cancers. There's autoimmune diseases that have popped up that they're trying to, that they've tied to this kind of downwind exposure. So we haven't moved much as far as legislation. Are there proposals to change things and update what's going on?
Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri has a bill that would greatly expand the number of states that are covered. It would cover all of Utah, for example, not just southern Utah and Idaho and his state of Missouri. And that passed the Senate, but it was opposed by our Senators Lee and Mitt Romney. And Senator Lee has a separate bill that would just do a clean extension because the RECA bill is going to expire on June 10th. His bill would just extend it for 2 more years. And so it's kind of in this no man's land right now, and the House, I'm not sure, is ready to take it up. Governor Cox has come out and said, no, we need to expand, and it's the right thing to do. So there's a little bit of a conflict here within Utah about what to do. And Lee and Romney are worried about runaway costs. You can't just write blank checks for people all over the country. But we've shown here with the current law, it's really not that easy to
Clearly.
prove. And people are dying. I mean, this was the last above ground test was more than 60 years ago.
Well, and they're just a horrible, and it's the government. I mean, they're dying at the hands of what the government was doing and the nuclear testing back in the 50s and early 60s.
And that's the point. There needs to be some accountability. I mean, you could argue that the people of southern Utah were exposed to far more radiation than any people on Earth from nuclear weapons. I mean, I know what happened in Nagasaki and Hiroshima was horrible, but this is over a period of time from 1952 to 1963.
So years of this kind of testing.
Continue. And the government told them it was safe. I mean, there are all these stories of people sitting on the hoods of their cars watching the mushroom clouds and feeling the warmth from
my goodness,
from the bombs.
My mom told the story that one time they knew what time it was going out. They all rushed to the roof and they watched it happen, and it would exploded, and then it would come just like you said. You'd see that wave that came across. It was like an event.
Yeah, difficult questions, but Congress has to act here by June 10th, or else the current program will expire and nobody will get anything.
Jay, will you keep us posted, please?
I will, yes.
You can read Jay's opinion piece and all of his opinion pieces at Deseret.com. Jay Evenson, thank you so much for joining us and giving us something to think about. Straight ahead, the national debt at nearly $35 trillion. In the next 10 seconds, it'll take me to read this line. It's gone up by $400,000 as of right this second. How do we get a grip on this? Dave's going to look into it for us next.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. Formal charges filed today against Michael Aaron Jane, the man accused of running down Santaquin Police Sergeant on I-15. Jeffrey Gray says the complaint filed today includes 9 felony charges.
Specifically, we have charged Mr. Jane with 1 count of aggravated murder, a capital felony, for intentionally or knowingly causing the death of Sergeant Bill Hoosier.
Jane also faces 2 counts of attempted murder, kidnapping, burglary, and auto theft. His first court appearance set for tomorrow afternoon. Gray says his office will make a determination as to whether to seek the death penalty after the preliminary hearing in the case. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. 8 people have died, dozens are hurt after a bus crash in central Florida. Florida Highway Patrol says a bus carrying farm workers in Marion County was sideswiped by a pickup truck that veered over the center line of the road. Then the bus went through a fence and rolled over. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down 21 points on the day, the NASDAQ up 35. And our KSL weather. Looks like temps will stay in the 70s or get warmer toward the weekend. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
It's a priority for us at this station to bring you all sides of a story and to talk about the news fairly, completely.
Get all the facts and be really aware. Utah's Morning News with us, Tim and Amanda.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
If you're a person who has been dealing with some joint pain that, quite frankly, you're a little concerned is going to keep you from doing the things you love, especially as we start to turn the page here on weather and get to spring and summer-like temperatures, but you're afraid of surgery and don't want the downtime involved with that, don't like the idea of steroids or drugs, then listen closely because the future of medicine is here in the Valley at QC Kinetics. QC, as I've told you, is the nation's leader in the most exciting revolution in pain management you've seen in decades. It's regenerative medicine. So if you have these achy joints, QC Kinetics wants you to know that your body was created to really heal itself with those natural biologics, but they need to be concentrated and sent directly to that spot where you're feeling the pain right now, and that's exactly what QC Kinetics can do today. You can get that relief without surgery or downtime. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. It's 385-766-1987. 385-766-1987.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other.
so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
Well, what other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Springtime in Utah, and if you're a business owner that hates to paint, do what business owner Al did. He called Rhino Shield.
I was watching TV one night and saw the Rhino Shield ad, and I thought, well, if they can do a house, they can probably do a building.
Rhino Shield ceramic technology is formulated for our unique climate here in Utah and is Class 1 fire rated.
So they came out and they gave me a price, showed me how the Rhino works, how it lasts, and how the guarantee works.
Utah residential or business, get the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
They waited for us to leave, and they worked Saturday and Sunday so they wouldn't affect our business at all. This was the great part of it. I came back Sunday night, and you couldn't even tell they were here. There was no paint on the ground. They did a fantastic job.
Utah, this offer is limited, so call 435-246-4466, 435-246-4466, or visit rhinoshieldwest.com.
Go Rhino Shield.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Dino Day celebrates June 1st at all Sinclair locations. Here's Ricky Meeks.
We've had a vehicle fire reported in Salt Lake. This is northbound I-15 at the Highway 89 Beck Street off-ramp. There is a lot of smoke in the area. At times, traffic stops, and when it moves again, it's getting by on the far right. And we're still waiting for fire crews to arrive on the scene. Advanced Window Products, $2,500 off 10 windows or more. AdvancedWindows.com. Affordable windows guaranteed. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
And we could see a few showers on the Wasatch Front today. The rest of the week, though, looks dry with a warming trend. Highs will be in the 70s up to 80 on Friday. And right now, we're at 68 degrees, partly cloudy skies. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
There's something online called the U.S. Debt Clock. It's at usdebtclock.org, and I just pulled it up because I know Dave wanted to talk about ways we can quash the massive debt that we have in this country. It's just like a, how do I describe it? Like a slot machine, but we're not winning.
Oh yeah, one of the progressive slot that's just continually going up.
Oh, it's nuts. It's giving me. I mean, I feel like it's giving me a headache looking at this. It's going up and 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 up. 34,736,220,000,000. I mean, I don't even know numbers this large. In just the last 10 seconds, Dave told me this. He had to feed me this line because I had no idea. In 10 seconds alone, it goes up like $400,000.
In the 8 minutes our radio segment is going to last, it goes up $15 million. Wrap your head around that. Okay, if you think that is terrible, I started producing this segment yesterday at about 5 o'clock. By 9 a.m., so from 5 p.m. to 9 a.m., the national debt went up $20 billion.
In just the time from yesterday evening until this morning when we went on the air live.
Yes.
How much?
$20 billion.
It's mind-numbing.
It's impossible to wrap your head around that, right? So there were a few things that I wanted to discuss because I started polling. It took me probably 10 minutes to do this. Utah congressmen that were talking about the national debt.
It's intergenerational debt transfer, and I think that's wrong.
Mike Lee, he said that back in 2011. How about Blake Moore?
You're exactly right. It's Groundhog Day, so let's get it done.
Let's do something about the debt. How about John Curtis?
We want to address this crisis that we're facing with our debt. We know that this debt is unhealthy. Nobody knows this better than Utah, right? The way that we handle our fiscal responsibilities there. I actually believe that we're reaching the point where this is impacting our national security, not just our way of life.
Every single congressman in Utah has talked about this. But did this answer any of your questions about the national debt, Debbie?
No.
This is the problem.
It's just mind-numbing to me. Can I just say, I'm looking at this debt calculator. I literally cannot pull my eyes off of it. It's so scary. Debt per taxpayer, they break it down at $266,951. That's per taxpayer. If you look at every citizen, it's a little... It's only $103,000 per citizen, but they include all the babies in that. They ain't paying taxes now.
Yeah, if you have a 6-week-old baby boy, his tax is over $100,000. And that's what he's responsible.
So the U.S. federal debt to GDP ratio in 1960s, the decade I was born in, it was a beautiful decade. It was like 53% of GDP. And now it's 122%. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Why did we end up here?
Well, we
spend,
and then we cut taxes too. This is what's so frustrating and difficult about this conversation is Republicans are to blame and Democrats are to blame. Everyone is to blame for this because Republicans want to cut taxes and Democrats want to spend on programs. And that's an oversimplification. Of course it is. But that there are two avenues that we go. We can bring in revenues by taxation to spend for the programs. Well, if we don't tax enough, then it's deficit spending. So for the next 3 days, we're going to talk about the national debt because I hear a lot of politicians saying we've got to address it. We got to address it. Okay, well, what do you mean? Give me a plan because I agree. I look at $35 trillion and I see, obviously, this is a problem. We're spending nearly $800 billion a year on the interest on this debt. That's as much as it costs to fund our entire military.
No family could do this.
No, none of us do.
You'd just be putting so much money toward interest if you were spending like this. So when we get into this mode, there are some options. Like if you look at it from a kitchen table perspective, you can cut spending. Mm-hmm. You can cut your budget. You can cut spending. It doesn't make sense for your family. You can go earn more money. So in this case, the government would raise taxes. You could go earn more money, or you can run to bankruptcy court. That's an option, right? You just go belly up. You go belly up and then you dig out of it. But there's some punishment along the way. Like you can't probably buy a home or qualify for a home mortgage for a decade or so. I don't know if you'll have problems getting credit cards after that because credit card companies are like, pariahs. They're ready to pounce on anybody with a pulse. So you suffer some consequences because of that. But any family in America was living like this, you just go straight down the tubes financially.
So I wanted to find out a little bit more. Okay, what's the next step? We acknowledge this is an issue. This is a problem. So I reached out to BYU economics professor Mark Showalter and wanted to start and figure out, okay, what is the number one problem right now with the national debt and how we got there?
It's not that complicated of an issue on how to reduce it. So you want to start lowering the annual shortfalls in those annual deficits. And so you got two levers. One is you can reduce the amount of spending that you're doing, or you can raise the amount of revenues you're getting, mostly through taxes. And so within each of those, there are a number of things to do. But as far as the federal deficit goes, there's a couple of things that, actually one big thing that dominates the explanation for why the trend is looking so bad, and that's expending on what are called the mandatory programs, things like Social Security or Medicare or Medicaid, these other kinds of things where the government doesn't vote on these expenditures every year. It's just set into law, and as people retire, they become eligible for the standardized set of benefits. And so coming to terms with how to pay for those kinds of things, whether you want to raise taxes to pay for them or whether you want to try to cut benefits.
So for the next 2 days, Debbie, we're going to talk specifically about which cuts are necessary and what tax increases are necessary to address the national debt. Because fundamentally, the whole problem is deficit spending. It's every single year Congress spends more money than they take in. We spend $1.7 trillion too much every single year. So until that gets down to zero, we're just going to perpetuate the problem. We can't even pay this down. And we're looking at $35 trillion. If we went just straight up balanced budget right now, zeros, like we spend every penny that we collect in taxes, the interest is still going up nearly $1 trillion a year. That's not even addressing the principle.
Well, I have a plan that's so outrageous, nobody will like it. I guarantee it. I'm going to come out of the gates swinging tomorrow on that one in our 10 o'clock hour. We'll tackle this in our 10 o'clock hour tomorrow. But great stuff, Dave. I love how you've tracked down all of this sound from all of the our Congress representatives back in D.C., Senator Mike Lee, Blake Moore, Romney, talking about the debt.
You're exactly right. It's Groundhog Day, so let's get it done.
Always talking about getting it done. I want to hear a plan. You come with a plan tomorrow, I'll come with a plan tomorrow, and we're going to solve this national debt crisis America's facing. Straight ahead, Outdoor Recreation, Division of Outdoor Recreation, stepping back in studio with us. It's time for boating season, friends. And so we're going to talk about what you need to have on your boat if you get pulled over by a water cop to make sure you don't get a ticket. That's straight ahead.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Current events can have a lot of moving parts. Our job is to make it easy to keep up.
You're part of a bigger world, so spend 15 or 20 minutes here and be part of it.
Join us weekday mornings between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
One of the things when the weather is changing, and we're starting to finally get some good weather right now, maybe a few storms, but weather changes make blackouts more prevalent. That's why you may want to consider having a standby generator installed at your house.
Master Electrical is your go-to. They've got a generator department. They want to serve you. And so they're standing by with their premier Generac generator to install in your home. You've been talking about it for way too long. Now do something about it by giving Master Electrical a call.
It affects me right now, Debbie. You know, I sold my house. I'm moving into a new home. There is no natural gas in this home. It is all electrical.
Wow.
Everything is electrical. Heating, air, everything electrical. So I'm very, very aware of the importance of a standby generator. Yeah, as you said, Master Electrical deals with the Generac generator. It's one of the premier generators in the entire country. Go ahead and go to masterelectrical.com to learn more about that standby generator. masterelectrical.com.
Get the news.
Salt Lake City is looking to shake up the zoning of single-family homes.
And a deeper understanding of the news.
2 homes on what was 1 lot.
Feels like an afterthought, and I think it's going to feel crowded.
Tim and Amanda catch you up first thing in the morning. Then join Dave and Debbie and Boyd Matheson for conversation about the news middays. And Jeff Kaplan has the latest developments on your drive home. For news and talk, we have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Progressive presents 10 things on a plumber's to-do list that are harder than getting a small business insurance quote. Waking up for 5 a.m. plumbing disasters, finding out why water is pouring from the ceiling, replacing a pipe in a home from the 1800s, then dealing with invoices or your awkward apprentice or that really weird smell, and then there's breathing and eating and, of course, clogs. But the easiest thing on any small business owner's to-do list? Seeing if you could save on the business insurance that's right for you. Get a quote in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliated and third-party insurers.
Pizza's here. Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Advertising used to be simple. Your options were radio, TV, newspaper, and let's not forget the yellow pages. Now it seems like a tidal wave of options. Podcast, cable TV, streaming, OTT, CTV, audio networks, smart speakers. On top of that, you need digital marketing for your website along with SEM, SEO, display, video, YouTube, email, and all the social media platforms. Look, you're the expert in your business. Wouldn't it be nice to have an expert to market you? We are Bonneville Salt Lake, the local marketing and media company you know and trust. We reach customers across all digital and social platforms and have the reach of traditional advertising available as well. We find your customer anytime, any place, anywhere on any device here in Utah or anywhere in the world. We work to optimize your results with our in-house local team of experts, providing you with qualified leads, not just impressions. Contact Stephanie Palmer at KSL for a free consultation, including a complete digital audit with no obligation or cost to you. Email spalmer@ksl.com. That's spalmer@ksl.com.
The life of a small business owner. Keeping the lights on, calling all the shots. And then there's workplace accidents. 500-degree ovens, rusty nails. Danger lurks around every corner. Workplace accidents can happen, but there is an easy way to keep your employees covered. Talk to your agent about workers' comp coverage from Pi, or go to piinsurance.com and get a quote. Safety first, then Pi Insurance. Individual rates, offerings, and savings may vary, subject to policy terms and conditions. Not available in all states and situations.
Don't miss the 20th annual Soldier Hollow Sheepdog Classic presented by Purina Pro Plan, May 24th through 27th. 4 competitive days, music, food, animals, and more. Visit soldierhollowclassic.com.
It's springtime in the Rockies, and it's time to apply Revive Organic Soil Treatment. A Revive treatment with fertilization, aeration, and good watering is the key to building stronger roots for a healthy, lush green lawn. Revive fertilizes and moves water and nutrients deeper into the soil. Take advantage of spring storms with an application of Revive now. Protect yourself from drought later this summer and skyrocketing water costs. With Revive, if you water 2 times a week, it's like watering 4. Apply Revive Organic Soil Treatment today. It works.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, aggravated murder tops the list of charges filed against Michael Aaron Jane in the death of Sergeant Bill Hoosier. Second, 8 people died, dozens were injured this morning when a bus carrying farm workers crashed in Florida. And third, a public memorial service is planned this week for Salt Lake City's former mayor, Ted Wilson. 68 degrees, partly cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Utah Water Safety. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
Love this time of year because it's boating season. We have construction season, we have boating season. So glad the Utah Division of Outdoor Recreation is back live with us again this year. I think we had some great coverage last year to keep Utah families safe, Dave. We're going to talk about a number of things with them, including, safety supplies to have on your boat with you, making sure you have a throwable device, and why that's so important. And then also, a lot of people zip around the lakes. They're just, quite frankly, unsafe. There's a lot of boaters that love to, speed on the water and get a little too close for comfort.
A little cozy. So what is the appropriate speed and what's the appropriate proximity? Starting off with Ty Hunter, who's the boating program manager for the Utah Division of Outdoor Recreation. All right, let's talk about speed and proximity. What do I need to know?
So the speed itself is you can go the fastest you want when you're out of there on the water, but we have that other word, proximity. So you have to change your speed and go down to a wakeless. So that is slow idle with that. When you're within 150 feet of another vessel or a dock, boat ramp, or fisherman on shore. And that can even be a skier down. So even retrieving your own skier, approach them slowly, and that'll be able to prevent most of our most, if not all, of our collision incidences that we have in there, and that's with another boat or person in the water.
Okay, let me expand on that a little bit more because, what's happening with skiers? Where do we see if you're pulling a skier or a boarder, wakeboard, surfing, whatever? Where are we seeing those injuries when it comes to speed and proximity? What's the behavior you're trying to shape?
A lot of it was with their own boat.
With their own boat.
It's
boat. It's not another boat coming in. It's okay.
Everybody, most parts, it's with their own boat. Most everybody, I don't know what it is with our society. We're all in a hurry. Slow down. You're on vacation. And that's really what we want to get there. Slow down. You're on vacation. Take care of those folks that you have in and out of your boat. And then just be good.
Steve Bullock is Chief of Law Enforcement with Division of Outdoor Recreation. You were raising your hand. Yes.
How do I do that in a studio? I don't know.
You need to fill in the blanks here.
So we want to try and prevent conflict on the water as well, right? We have different use types out on the water. Some there's non-motorized users. There's personal watercraft. Like you're saying, there's wakeboarders. There's fishermen. A fisherman in a small aluminum boat, when somebody comes too close on their wakeboard boat, if they're not keeping that distance, it's just going to rock their boat. It can actually throw them out of the water.
It's unsafe.
Cut their lines. There's a lot of things. So keeping that distance is the best way to keep you safe. Just keeping that big bubble of safety around you, 150 feet. 150 feet is about half of a football field, 50 yards. So you think, how far can I throw a football? Really quick, funny anecdote. This last summer, I pulled over a boat with Steve Young on it, and I always talk about this how far can you throw a football, and everybody was laughing in the boat because he can throw a football much further than most people. So it was quite interesting to find out that Steve Young was.
That's awesome.
Hilarious.
Well, I've been pulled over my boat before. Don't have a boat anymore. I go with the paddleboard route. So I'm one of those without a motor on, just kind of trying to paddleboard around, and these boats are going wild, in all directions. It gets a little scary out there. When I got pulled over, I've told you guys this before. I love that you keep us safe on the lake, no doubt, but it absolutely ruined my day. I couldn't get after that. I was like, we're leaving, we're going home. Same thing happened when I got, checked for a fishing license 100 years ago. I'm like, we're going home now, we're done. I had everything. I had the paddle you need to have on it, the throwable device, which I want to talk more about. Everything was there except for my fire extinguisher was outdated. It's something that I hadn't thought to check. Important to know exactly what you need to make sure you have the, newest form of it, or the fire extinguisher that is not 10 years expired.
Yeah, there's a great list. We have a courtesy. We actually have a boating highlights law that has like a nice little checklist in it that's available on our website that you can download if you're listening on air. When we're contacted by a ranger, they'll go through a vessel safety inspection to make sure that you have enough life jackets for people, that they're appropriate size, that they're in good condition, that you have a throwable life preserver on board, making sure that your registration and numbering and insurance and all those things are great. But we're also looking for things like fire extinguishers and other safety, back flame arresters, proper ventilation. You remember last year there was a bunch of big houseboat fires down at Lake Powell.
Yes.
Boating fires do happen. People don't think
Absolutely
they do.
Absolutely they do, yeah.
You have flammable fuels and combustible material on there, and they can happen really quickly. So it's an important piece of the safety equipment, and we're happy to go through and do courtesy checks for you at our boat ramps. When we contact you on the water, we'll do those as well. But you can also do a quick safety check to find out what gear is responsible you need to have on your boat by going to boating.utah.gov.
How long is a life jacket seaworthy, so to speak? Like, do they age out?
They can. It depends on how well you take care of it. I mean, really, if you leave it out in the sun, you don't properly dry it, you basically don't wipe it down after particular uses with that, it's the lifetime of it's not going to last too long. Also, if you're wearing it out there with the sunscreen and things, that's going to start breaking it down too. So it really depends upon your care and the amount of time that you wear it with that. So like our Rangers we can get 3 years max out of a jacket.
Oh, really?
With our Rangers that are wearing it full time. And that is like the ultimate max.
And I don't want to state the obvious here, but it's like that good pair of jeans you love. Sometimes you grow out of it, right?
It's cozy.
You've been sitting around all winter. You've enjoyed the Doritos a little too much. So you want to check out the fit before you end up out on the water. Steve, I want to hit this with you a little bit more. These throwable devices, when somebody's going, so often when we cover news stories about drownings, what's happening is somebody's going under, they didn't have a life jacket on, and then somebody on the boat who doesn't have a life jacket, it's not on them. Maybe it's hidden away and they don't take the time to put a life jacket on, which I wish they would, because what ends up happening is then the person who's already panicked in the water takes them down with them. There's so many of these, like I want to call them tandem drownings that happen. These throwable devices that you can throw from a boat can be a lifesaver for two reasons. It saves the person from jumping off the boat and drowning accidentally, and it saves the person who's already panicked in the water.
Yeah, what a tragedy when dad jumps in to save his child and saves his child, but he loses his own life. And we've dealt with some of those, and they're hard to deal with for sure. But yeah, a throwable device is required for any boat over 16 feet in length. A lot of times it looks like a square seat cushion. It's rated by the Coast Guard for a certain amount of flotation. It's easy to throw. A lot of times when you try and throw a life jacket, it kind of twirls in the wind. This has a little bit more weight and heft to it, so you can get it to somebody. And those are great. You might not think that you're helping somebody in your own boat, because your boat is everybody's wearing a life jacket, but you might be helping somebody else. And
that's a great point.
We've had several instances where other boaters have rescued another person that's in the water. But really, if you do end up in that situation where somebody's swimming and they're struggling, please throw them a life jacket or don one yourself before you go in to save them, so we don't have a multiple fatality.
And throw it past them. Nothing worse than throwing it short.
Yeah, as long as you can get it to them. And, in river situations where we have high water, there's throw bags and other options out there as well. But it's just a basic piece of safety equipment that we want everybody to have on their boats.
Also, I want to say tow rope, because I've had to have my boat towed before. You don't want to get out of the middle of the water and not have one of those. There's so much to know.
Never break down. What are you talking about? Ty Hunter, Steve Bullock, thank you so much for joining us from the Utah Division of Outdoor Recreation.
We'll be looking forward to ongoing coverage and discussions about boating safety over the next several weeks and into summer. So it's boating season again. I saw the paddleboarders out on the water yesterday. It's time to ramp up and make sure we're doing things safely. Straight ahead, in Draper, they are asking for a pay raise for police officers and for firefighters, but we want to go in depth on the pitch and how they plan to raise starting pay for Draper police officers to $64,000 a year, and why the city is deciding they got to do this and they got to do it now.
It's 11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bonas. KSL's top local story this hour. The charges filed today against the man suspected of running down a police officer on I-15 include aggravated murder, and that charge could potentially carry the death penalty. The Utah County Attorney filed 9 felony charges against Michael Aaron Jane this morning. The list also includes 2 counts of attempted murder, as well as kidnapping, burglary, and auto theft. Jane's first court appearance is set for tomorrow afternoon. Details of a public memorial service for former Salt Lake City Mayor Ted Wilson being announced now. Wilson will be remembered on Friday at the Rice-Eccles Stadium Tower at the University of Utah. Service starts at 10 a.m. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Biden announced that he's boosting tariffs on a list of products made in China. The president says the new tariffs will ensure that American workers won't be held back by unfair trade practices.
They include the thing I'm announcing today, 25% tariff on Chinese steel and aluminum products, and will counter China's overcapacity in these industries.
The president also announced a 100% tariff on electric vehicles made in China. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average dropping 38 points today. The NASDAQ is up by 45. And our KSL weather, we're going to see temperatures in the 70s through the week till we get to Friday, and then it's 80s. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:31.
Here's a way to get breaking news updates anywhere you go.
At the store or in a work meeting, you can get breaking news on your phone.
You can quickly read it, swipe, or click for more. It's super discreet, super fast.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
You wouldn't know it, but most financial advisors are put in a box. I'm Jeff Jr. from Trajan Wealth, and I want to provide you a little insight about financial advisors. Most financial advisors have to sell what their company requires them to sell, and many advisors have to only adhere to what's called a suitability standard. A suitability standard is a limited standard of care, not requiring what's sold to be best, just suitable. Advisors with this loose standard often have limited investment and product selection. Trajan Wealth is held to a fiduciary standard, which is the highest standard of care in the advisory business. And that's just one of the many reasons we have billions of dollars under our care and attract clients from other advisors. Raise your standards today and call Trajan Wealth. Call 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Stirring fiber, exercising, frequent trips to the store for more laxatives and fiber. Sounds like your constipation with belly pain is a lot to manage. But if your symptoms that keep coming back are signs of irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C, ask your doctor how Linzess can help you get ahead of it. Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Do you know how to tell if a clogged drain is something to worry about or not? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I understand it's annoying and inconvenient, but sometimes a clogged drain can be a sign there's a more serious issue with your sewer main line. If the drains in the lowest level of your home aren't draining, or you flush a toilet and it comes up somewhere else like a shower or a floor drain, I'm urging you to look at this as more than just an annoyance. The last thing I want you to experience is a sewer backup. If you're a homeowner experiencing any of these issues, the first step would be to snake the line to see if it's just a blockage, which one of our drain techs can do for only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate on June 1st at all Sinclair locations. Here's Ricky Meeks.
Fire crews have come and left the scene of this vehicle fire. There was a lot of smoke. Northbound I-15 at the Highway 89 Beck Street off-ramp. What's left, with some crews remaining at the scene, are over to the left. You can access that ramp. Just stay to the right. Ricky Meeks in the KSL Traffic Center.
We could see a few showers on the Wasatch Front today. The rest of the week, though, looks dry with a warming trend. Highs will be in the 70s and 80s on Friday. And right now, we're at 70 degrees. It's sunny. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Well, Draper City is trying to get police pay for their starting wages up to $64,000 a year. They would be leapfrogging over other cities that are paying more in the neighborhood of $61,000 a year. If you missed the 9 o'clock hour, shame on you, but that's okay, because we're going to go in depth right now on Draper's proposal to get police up to $64K a year to start.
We've been 17 years. We haven't increased our property tax. Now, other taxing entities, school district, sewer district, they've all increased their taxes. We haven't for 17 years. My house is $526 a year. That's what I pay in Draper City property tax. It'll cost me $8.50. If the council approves this one,
That's
in June.
the mayor of Draper, Troy Walker, who called in at 9:20 this morning to lay out the plan to get more money to police and also to firefighters.
There's a little bit of competition going on between the different police departments, different cities around the state, because just 5 years ago, the starting pay for an officer, $19.71. That was $41,000 a year. That's what they were paying police officers. And then they had this terrible attrition rate where we just couldn't recruit new officers. So communities started investing, started raising taxes to pay for it. And now we went from $41,000 a year to what they're asking for in Draper, almost $65,000 a year.
But there's another big problem on their hands, Dave. Interest is dwindling in becoming a cop, and Mayor Walker addressed that with us. He said he used to, in 1985 when he graduated Alta High, they'd ask the question, how many want to be a police officer? And a bunch of people would raise their hands, and he asks his youth group the same question today. Nobody raises their hands.
The number of people that want to become law enforcement officers or firefighters, and I can tell you it's really dwindling, and I think we're headed for a serious crisis. We got to get the pay up so that the job is attractive to young people. It's also got to be a job that it's got to pay enough that they want to stay and work in our city. And, good people cost money.
So this is a very important question. We've got to figure out what the problem is. Is the disinterest in becoming a cop or a firefighter, is it pay related or is it job related? This is an area, Debbie, where I think you have a lot of expertise and a lot of insight because
I lived it
for more than 20 years.
Yeah, I lived it.
Your husband was a police officer?
And he would be, when we got married, when we met, he was a rookie cop. So I don't remember his exact pay, but it was mid-20s.
Okay.
And that would have been in 1994, 1995. So let me tell you how life goes. And I think the same holds true today because of inflation, because the cost of housing is so much higher. When we bought our first home together, it was $157,000. Okay. Bought a home in Cottonwood Heights on a third of an acre on a cul-de-sac off a dead-end street. Okay. Were we privileged? Pretty much. We got very, very lucky that we got this $157,000. Now, I was a full-time news reporter, Channel 4 News at the time. So we had dual income, and we got this 3-bedroom house. It needed a ton of work, by the way. That's a whole nother therapy session for me and for him too. It was a lot. It needed a lot of work. But what I'm saying is we were able to get into a home that was affordable and would put a roof over our heads. It was a great spot to raise kiddos.
Yeah.
But here's how things go over the years. You bring children into this world, and as a police officer, he found himself working, multiple jobs. So here's how it goes. The first thing that happens is you take on a number of different side hustles. And you're not a firefighter, so you don't have like 24 hours on and then 72 hours or 48 hours, however they structure their. You are working every single day and you're doing the side hustle. A lot of cops work construction. They might do security as a side hustle. So construction is hard labor. Security can be overnight shifts. So you're double or tripling up your jobs.
Which is very, very common for all police officers.
If everybody we knew in the law enforcement family was working 2 and 3 different jobs. I mean, it was like if you didn't, it's like, well, what planet are you living on?
Geez, lazy.
And then to boot, here's the other situation we have. Now, I mean, it's no secret what we're dealing with this week. We just laid a law enforcement officer to rest. He was killed in the line of duty a week and 2 days ago over something cops do all the time. They pull somebody over. I mean, so, you are dealing with the dangers of the job every single day. And the dangers of the job just not only come in bullet form, or in getting run over by a truck. But, my husband was getting out of the car midnight one night. He was on duty or getting off duty on Wasatch Boulevard. His patrol vehicle slammed in the back of, I want to say it was 100 miles an hour. Drunk driver hits the back of his patrol car, goes all the way up the side of it. I went to the next day to the police yard because he had to go to the hospital. Thankfully, he lived. And I took one look at his patrol car, and I almost fell to my knees crying. I was like, it was shocking. Thank goodness that he was able to avoid getting smushed, just absolutely obliterated. He was just responding to an incident on Wasatch Boulevard. That's all he was doing. So now we have, that situation where he's got to be off duty. If they're involved in shootings, there's all kinds of scrutiny that goes along with it. If they're involved in an arrest where somebody makes an allegation, they're now in front of internal affairs. And for us, a case ended up in court for 4 years. For 4 years. This is why we have to have honest conversations about what we are requiring of our police officers and also their families. It goes far beyond, hey, you wear a badge, that's super cool. And I think that a lot of people get into this, or maybe now we're starting to see the light because of social media and because of all of the coverage that's happened. But people can get into this with rose-colored glasses. And it is far more than just, than putting on a uniform and carrying a badge. There's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes, privately, inside homes, emotions that are involved that we need to talk more about. We need to know, what is that number? What is that number that will make up for all of this other emotional commitment that goes into being a cop?
So it's not just money. It's the danger. It's having to work several side hustles.
Exhaustion.
Maybe, it's the exhaustion.
Also shift work.
Shift work.
10 hours of an overnight shift, 4 days a week. A 410 sounds amazing if it's from like 8 in the morning until 6 p.m. at night. But that's not a cop's job. I mean, some of the shifts are like that. But I remember Chris worked, oh my goodness, was it 7 days in a row, 8-hour shifts?
Well, and
it's like you never see daddy, you never see your husband.
Another thing that is also very common is they'll rotate through shifts. So perhaps you'll work days for a month or so, and then you'll work evenings, and then you'll work overnights, and they bounce around. So try to have a schedule or a sleep schedule when you're working graves 1 month and then you're working mornings the next.
I think we have to look at this issue with police pay beyond a number. Draper is going to go to $64,000 a year. Most likely, they're going to approve that. You got the city paying in about the same rate, $61,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Provo was a lot less. You said Provo. You checked that. It was what?
$55,000.
$55,000
starting pay,
which is low now compared to what other cities are doing. So cities are coming in and trying to poach other police departments of their officers because they're going to pay them more. So that's one issue, is the poaching that's going on. But the other issue is I don't know what the number is. $64,000 a year is probably still too low. If you don't have anybody in your youth group raising their hand to say they want to be a cop, and you say, "But it's $64,000 a year. That's amazing. And look, in 30 years or 25 years, you get to qualify for a pension." That's a lot to ask, given all the stuff that happens in between, Dave.
Yes, I think it's why we need to have a better conversation and not just focus exclusively on the dollar amount. I think that's extremely important. No question. We've made some great strides, especially recently, but there's more that goes into it, and we've got to figure out how are we going to address some of the more emotional side of things, the drain of the job, than just saying, let's throw some more money at it.
Straight ahead, speaking of the dangers of the job, we got the announcement today from the Utah County Attorney's Office that they're going to seek the death penalty against the man who's accused of killing Sergeant Bill Hoosier, who's just laid to rest yesterday.
First, I would like to express my sincere condolences to Sergeant Bill Hoosier's wife, Kinda, and their 2 daughters.
That was the announcement that we took live in the 10 o'clock hour from Utah County Attorney Jeffrey Gray. Straight ahead, former prosecutor, now KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas, joining us live on the line. We're going to ask him about this, the death penalty being sought, what the community expected. But there's also some behind-the-scenes stuff that goes on with the death penalty that Greg is going to weigh in on. Straight ahead.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Here's a trick to podcasting at work and getting all the Utah news you love.
Download the KSL News Radio app.
The podcast for Utah's morning news and Dave and Debbie are right there. Dozens of podcasts a day.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
over the weekend, I had somebody come up to me and say, Dave, you look great. I'm like, I know. Well, thanks. I appreciate it. I don't know how to respond to it. I'm appreciative. But I also know that there's a little more work to be done with my fat loss journey. That's how I refer to it, because Salt Lake City Fat Loss has helped me lose 57 pounds. I lost it in 60 days, and for 6 weeks, a month and a half so far, I've kept it off, and I feel great. But there is still some work to do, and I know that. But with Salt Lake City Fat Loss, you can lose weight safely and naturally, without surgery, without injections, no point counting, no exercising, and no prepackaged meals. So the prepackaged meals was an important part of it for me, because I didn't want to be on the hook to buying the same meals forever to keep that weight off. They taught me how to lose weight, how to keep it off. If you're interested, give Salt Lake City Fat Loss a call, or I think it's even better just to check it out online. Go to slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
Looking for a secure retirement plan without market risk? Look no further. Lyle Boss, president of Boss Financial, specializes in no market risk retirement strategies with guarantees of principal, guaranteed growth, and lifelong income. Join Lyle right here each Saturday and Sunday for his Safe Money radio show, and call him now at 855-355-SAFE for your complimentary customized Safe Money information kit and Safe Money book. Nothing but upside here at 855-355-SAFE.
Small business owners, we know tackling your to-do list can sometimes feel like going 12 rounds against a heavyweight champ. Except that heavyweight's gloves are made of something hard, like diamonds. So when a new to-do pops up, you're like, I can't. I'm boxing my diamond boxing glove wearing heavyweight champ of a to-do list. At Progressive, we don't want to make your day any harder. That's why we make it easy with over 30 customizable coverage options, so you can finally land a knockout blow. See if you can save on business insurance in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliated and third-party insurers.
Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
The life of a small business owner. Keeping the lights on, calling all the shots. And then there's workplace accidents. 500-degree ovens, rusty nails. Danger lurks around every corner. Workplace accidents can happen, but there is an easy way to keep your employees covered. Talk to your agent about workers' comp coverage from Pi, or go to piinsurance.com and get a quote. Safety first, then Pi Insurance. Individual rates, offerings, and savings may vary, subject to policy terms and conditions. Not available in all states and situations.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. LitJoy is a Utah-based business that offers signed books, book boxes, and gifts for book lovers. They also just celebrated their 8th birthday. Director of Business Management, Kara Hobson, joins us with more.
LitJoy, like Literature Joy, takes pride in contributing to Utah's thriving economy while engaging readers worldwide. LitJoy is at the forefront of immersive book experiences, and our purpose is to cultivate connections and joy through stories, and our mission is to create products and experiences that bring people together. We collaborate with renowned authors like Neil Gaiman, Sarah J. Maas, Rochelle Mead, Marissa Meyer, and Utah-based author Brandon Mull to produce special edition books. These books feature stunning new covers, interior art, and more, bringing your beloved books to life. We transform classic books such as Pride and Prejudice and offer bookish merchandise that caters to readers worldwide. LitJoy was named 2023 #1 book box subscription according to USA Today's readers. We're also proud to have been recognized as Utah's 27th fastest growing company, and we're still growing. Join us on our next reading adventure at litjoycrate.com.
If you're looking for the perfect gift for the book lover in your life, or if you're that book lover, check out LitJoy. Learn more at their website. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Don't risk it. A life jacket will save your life, but only if you wear it. Wear it, Utah.
with the three things you need to know this hour. I'm Dan Bomas. First, the Utah County Attorney has filed charges against the man suspected of killing a Santaquin police officer. Aggravated murder is the first on the list. Second, Utah State Auditor says the bill that regulates which bathrooms can be used in public buildings is more for show than substance. And third, President Biden putting a 100% tariff on electric cars made in China. Right now, 72 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Okay, I finally had a chance to read some of the several pages long of the criminal charges that were filed and announced earlier today by the Utah County Attorney against Michael Jane, the defendant in the case accused of killing Sergeant Bill Hoosier. On page 4, this is my read of it, because we've been wondering all along who called 911, who called to report that somebody was standing on the back of a semi-truck, which is what baited police into pulling Jane's truck over. And according to my read on this document, according to my read of this document, that it says on May 5th, these are the charging documents. Greg will bring you on too. Greg Skordas is live on the line with us. On May 5th, 2024, in Utah County, the defendant called 911 and said someone was riding on the back of the trailer of a semi-truck he was driving. It was allegedly Jane who called 911. Are you reading that the same way?
Yeah. Greg Skordas joining us right now, KSL legal analyst. Greg, is that legalese that we're missing, or is that how you read it as well?
Yeah, I don't take too much stock in these probable cause statements, and I say that because I wrote 1,000 of them.
Okay.
It's something that you file with a court in order to support charges. It's not evidence. It's not a police report. It's a summary, a synopsis. And so some of the facts may not be exactly right. I mean, they had to get some charges filed against this man, and to the extent that they very clearly articulated the aggravated murder and the attempted aggravated murder, I thought they did a very good job. But you're right, there's some language in there that is a little bit confusing, and Debbie, you, of course, nailed what that was.
Yeah.
Because you're so thorough.
Well, no, but
I was looking at the same thing.
Yeah, so we know from the Utah County Attorney's News Conference that Jane is going to face the death penalty, which I think most of the community expected to have happen. And then 2, also attempted aggravated murder charges regarding the woman who said she'd been kidnapped by him or being held captive by him in the truck, and also the trooper who was on the scene when he allegedly mowed down Sergeant Hoosier with the semi-truck. But what we hadn't known until I flipped to page 4 here, and I've been wondering this. I know a lot of people have reached out to me as well, just within the community. It was like, who made that phone call? Because it was reported that this woman was taken against her will at the Beaver truck stop along I-15. And now, according to this probable cause statement, it says in black and white here, Greg, that it was the defendant who made the call and said that someone was riding on the back of his trailer. What my point of bringing that up for a number of reasons is that the missing puzzle piece that we've been wondering who made this call. And additionally, did Jane intentionally bait the cops into a traffic stop?
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, that would certainly be one theory of the case, that he was baiting the police. I mean, he has a history, as you guys we talked about yesterday, of crimes involving police officers, where police officers were his targets, were his victims. So yeah, he may have felt that it was time to do something like that again. And obviously, this one was much, much more serious than anything he had done previously. And the facts in this case are just horrific. But yeah, that could be a potential theory, Debbie, that he was upset at police, that he was upset at what was going on, and he in fact was inviting the confrontation that ultimately ended up with this very fine officer's death.
But oddly enough, during this entire time, it sounds like the woman that he was traveling with, there was a confrontation in Beaver where they had a fight, and she would not get back into the semi-truck with him, and he went back several times, and it wasn't until he threatened her with a knife and bear spray that she finally got back into the truck. So there's several things going on here. There's the phone call, the 911, the altercation, the fight, all leading up to this deadly outcome just shortly after.
That's exactly right. And with respect to the woman, that's where the aggravated kidnapping comes into play. The aggravated murder, of course, is for the officer who was killed. The 2 counts of attempted aggravated murder involve other officers that were in his clearly within his line of sight when he was trying to cause them harm or perhaps try to kill them as well. And then it goes down to the burglary where he broke into the house in Mount Pleasant, evading the police officer. Of course, this chase ended all the way in Uintah County by the time it was done. And then the theft of each of the vehicles. There were 3. He stole a semi-truck and 2 Ford pickup trucks. So, yeah, they went through everything here, 9 different counts, all felonies, starting with aggravated murder that carries potential for the death penalty down to a 3rd-degree felony for the fleeing the police officers.
Greg, we never have enough time with you because you give us so much great information. But 30 seconds or so, I don't know that they'd have an uphill battle with this case, proving it because of all of the body cam footage they'll likely have in surveillance. But the death penalty adds a certain layer to this, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, it adds a huge layer to it. We don't file death penalty cases in Utah like other states do. We're very rare that we file these. But when it comes to the death of a police officer and all the other carnage that this man caused, I think this was one of those cases, Debbie, where the Utah County Attorney's Office just didn't have a choice. And I would surmise that they're probably going to pursue this as a death penalty all the way to the end.
Greg Skordas, thank you for joining us, KSL legal analyst.
So when he says all the way to the end, there's always chat and chatter about a potential for a plea deal. So we'll have to see how this plays out. This is, day 1 of the official charges being filed. He will be in court in the next day. We will cover that live as well. And Maria will have much more on the criminal charges that were officially filed today against this suspect.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time is 12 o'clock noon, and this is Utah's Noon News. I'm Maria Chaleos. KSL's top story this hour. 9 felony charges have been filed against Michael Jane, the man accused of killing Santaquin Sergeant Bill Hoosier. KSL News Radio's Amy Kobabe is live in Utah County with details. Amy?
Maria, the first charge, aggravated murder, gives prosecutors the option to seek the death penalty. Utah County Attorney Jeffrey Gray says they will wait for Jane to enter a plea.
If Mr. Jane pleads not guilty at the arraignment, then by statute, we will have 60 days to file a notice of intent to seek the death penalty.
Gray says that Jane was booked into the Utah County Jail on Saturday. He did not say, though, what injuries he had and put him in the hospital for a week. He was stopped by troopers near Vernal with a pit maneuver on Sunday, the 5th, after an hours-long manhunt. Gray did not take any questions from the media today, saying they are still investigating and in that process, which could take months. Reporting live in Utah County, Amy Kobabe, KSL News Radio.
Greg Skordas, KSL's legal analyst, is weighing in on whether they will seek the death penalty.
But when it comes to the death of a police officer and all the other carnage that this man caused, I think this was one of those cases, Debbie, where the Utah County Attorney's Office just didn't have a choice. And I would surmise that they're probably going to pursue this as a death penalty all the way to the end.
We have the full list of the 9 charges at KSLNewsRadio.com, as well as all of our continuing coverage on the death of Santaquin Police Sergeant Bill Hoosier and the case that follows. Draper City leaders are looking at raising taxes. They say it's needed to pay their police officers competitive wages. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston has more.
If you don the gold badge as a brand new police officer in Draper, you can expect a starting salary of about $61,000. For reference, Sandy police officers with no prior experience started at about $6,000 more than that.
We're never going to be the highest paid, police department in the valley, but I'd like to be competitive.
Draper Mayor Troy Walker tells KSL TV he wants to raise the property tax by 20% to help pay for it. If the budget goes through, new officer salaries could go up by $4,000, and firefighters could see a pay bump too. Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
The details of a public memorial service for former Salt Lake City Mayor Ted Wilson are being announced. Wilson will be remembered on Friday at Rice-Eccles Stadium Tower at the University of Utah campus at 10 in the morning. After the service, Salt Lake City Hall's bell tower will chime 30 times in honor of the city's 30th mayor. Utah State Auditor doesn't like the implementation of a new law that defines who can use which public restrooms.
Oh, hi. Are you the bathroom monitor?
In a social media video, John Dougal walks out of a bathroom stall and says the bill is about show rather than protecting girls and women. Representative Kira Birkeland sponsored the bill, and Dougal says it doesn't direct any money to provide more privacy or safety.
She implied that I didn't care about women's safety in bathrooms. Nothing could be further from the truth.
He says his office has received thousands of bogus complaints through the state's new online complaint forum. Dougal is not running for re-election, but is instead running for Congress. KSL's top national stories. Testimony from Michael Cohen, former President Trump's former fixer, continues today and could get more heated when it comes to the cross-examination. Cohen told the jury yesterday that Trump played a pivotal role in orchestrating payments to Silent Stories after the Access Hollywood tape came out before the election in 2016. ABC's Aaron Katursky is outside the court with details of that testimony.
He showed invoices that Cohen said falsely stated he was being repaid for legal services rendered. Was this invoice a false record? Susan Hoffinger, the prosecutor, asked him. Yes, ma'am, Cohen replied. And then he showed the jury the checks. And were these checks issued, Hoffinger asked, in response to the false invoice? Yes, Cohen said. And whose signature is on the checks? Well, that would be Donald Trump's each and every time.
Outside court today, while Cohen was on the stand, House Speaker Mike Johnson said his testimony shouldn't be trusted.
This is a man who is clearly on a mission for personal revenge and who is widely known as a witness who has trouble with the truth.
Johnson said he came to support Trump on his own because the trial is corrupt and the justice system is biased. Other national stories KSL is following this hour. President Biden is announcing new tariffs on Chinese products, including semiconductors, batteries, and solar panels. His administration says this action will help American manufacturers. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers has the latest.
President Biden announcing new tariffs he says will ensure American workers are not held back by unfair trade practices by China.
It's not competition, it's cheating. And we've seen damage here in America.
The new tariffs are on $18 billion of Chinese goods, including a 100% tariff on electric vehicles made in China.
We're not going to let China flood our market, making it impossible for American auto manufacturers to compete fairly.
Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
First look traffic. Good afternoon, Ricky.
Good afternoon, Maria. We still have the final cleanup of an earlier vehicle fire. It's on the off-ramp from northbound I-15 at Highway 89 Beck Street to the left. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:05.
Listen to KSL for news to get exactly what you want.
Stories about what's going to affect me.
Traffic. If I want to know now, I'll go to KSL Radio.
Hear the important stories, the stories that affect you.
On KSL News Radio.
Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. Listen, we're fiduciaries. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. Now, imagine how that would be if you could actually retire 3 to 5 years sooner than your plan was. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan, taking into consideration any rental properties that you have, any pension income that you have, your Social Security. Listen, we put that all together for you in writing. It will allow us to build your income based on inflation. You know, inflation has been rapidly rising. You and I both need a plan that whatever we start out our income at, in 5 or 10 years, we're going to need 40% more income. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
What does an Olympic venue, Memorial Weekend, music, food, canine athletes, and handlers celebrating 20 years all have in common? The 20th anniversary of the Soldier Hollow Sheepdog Classic, presented by Purina Pro Plan, May 24th through 27th. A glorious event set amidst the Soldier Hollow mountainside. Cheer on top dog athletes and talented handlers, dueling rugged mountainous terrain against the clock with agility and skill to corral the most insolent sheep in the world. 4 days, high-value competition, demos, music, along with delicious local eateries and vendors bordered in beautiful Midway, Utah. Soldier Hollow Sheepdog Classic, presented by Purina Pro Plan, performance nutrition that fuels sporting dog champions. Powder River, the authority in livestock handling equipment, and IFA Country Stores, for over 100 years helping farmers and ranchers grow the things they love. May 24th through 27th. Visit SoldierHollowClassic.com. SoldierHollowClassic.com.
Thank you for joining us for Utah's New News. Recapping our top story this hour, Utah County Attorney's Office has filed 9 charges against the man accused of running down and killing Santa Quinn police officer Bill Hooser. Those charges include aggravated murder. KSL News Time 12:08. Utah is getting older. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
Utah has the youngest median age in the country, but it's getting older. This means we could see a change in the way Utah spends its money and the resources it offers. Director of Demographics Research at the Kempsey Gardner Policy Institute, Mallory Bateman, tells KSL at Night, we can already see this in parts of the state.
You see a lot more trails and you see a lot more people riding their expensive road bikes or, things like that, compared to a park that is just a big splash pad and a bunch of fun slides.
Bateman says less Utahns are having babies and the baby boomer population is getting older, tipping the scale towards an older median age. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Students of the teacher who was injured on Friday in a shop class accident at Lehigh High School are showing some love this week. Flowers were collected and a GoFundMe has raised about $25,000. Students Caden Winter and Tice Baumgartner tell KSL TV police had to shut down the whole area.
For me, it was a lot of panic, shoot, is he going to be okay? I think it was just rough for all of us to realize that he was hurt.
They also say their teacher, who is not named out of protection of privacy, is more than a teacher. He's a mentor and a friend. Former Utah State player Greg Osobor is sharing his thoughts about landing the largest NIL deal in college basketball. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit has more.
Osobor tells ESPN he is grateful to God for where he is now. The NIL deal that he's getting is valued at around $2 million, and Osobor says he's looking forward to use his new platform to represent his family and be a role model for his 2 younger sisters.
Osobor is originally from England, and he says he didn't start off as a highly recruited player. USA Today is weighing in on what it calls the worst possible names for Utah's NHL team. The paper's sports writers do not like the names Utah NC, Utah Caribou, Utah Powder, and they say the worst possible name of the ones listed among the choices is the Utah Canyons. They say the mascot would be odd, probably some animal in climbing gear. Now, the first round of voting is open until May 22nd. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate on June 1st at all St. Clair locations. What's going on, Ricky?
We have a really nice drive on the Valley freeways. No delays, no accidents. The one problem we had just pulled away. It was a vehicle fire on the exit ramp from northbound I-15 at Highway 89 Beck Street. And now that ramp is completely open. You don't have to squeeze by. Now, on the surface streets, we still have some east and westbound backups on 33rd South at 20th East. That's been ongoing for the last few weeks. And then also some heavy and slow traffic southbound on SR 36 Main Street on the way to 10th North by Macy's. So just be aware that overall it's pretty quiet, but you may run into just some minor spots of slowing on the side streets. Experience one of the largest gun shows in the state at the Rocky Mountain Gun Show happening May 18th through 19th at the Mountain America Expo Center in Sandy. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Beautiful spring-like weather today. We'll go partly cloudy skies, a slight chance for a pop-up, and 76. 51 overnight, goes mostly sunny tomorrow, 73. We're up to 78 by Thursday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
A lot of sunshine, 72 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. Coming up on Utah's New News, reimagining Salt Lake City's downtown. We'll hear about some of the plans the city is coming out with to create a true Main Street. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station. I want to tell you about a great weight loss plan that has allowed me to take off the pounds quickly. I lost 25 pounds in just 60 days eating a healthy combination of foods. Salt Lake City Fat Loss has designed a meal plan for me, which is strategically it combines foods to help burn that stored fat. And it's easy to stick with because you're able to see the results so quickly without vigorous exercise. Plus, I've learned how not to put those pounds back on. There are no expensive prepackaged meals, no surgery, and no injections. There's just an easy-to-follow meal plan. Check it out for yourself. Go to slcfatloss.com to schedule your free consultation. You can do it in person or virtually. And right now, you can save $200 on the plan just by mentioning Maria sent you. I lost 25 pounds in 60 days. Many of their clients lose up to a pound per day. Call 801-450-1882 or go to slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
The life of a small business owner. Keeping the lights on, calling all the shots. And then there's workplace accidents. 500-degree ovens, rusty nails. Danger lurks around every corner. Workplace accidents can happen, but there is an easy way to keep your employees covered. Talk to your agent about workers' comp coverage from Pi, or go to piinsurance.com and get a quote. Safety first, then Pi Insurance. Individual rates, offerings, and savings may vary, subject to policy terms and conditions. Not available in all states and situations.
As a business owner, you don't have time for automated systems. You need real support. Mountain America Credit Union can help businesses of all sizes. Mountain America has the personalized service and financial tools for success. From checking and cash management to merchant services and loans, we can help you reach your goals. Get real results. Get Mountain America Business Services. Loans on approved credit. Membership required based on eligibility. Learn more at macu.com/business.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. Did you know that we offer 3 distinct styles of gutter protection? Each one meant to handle a specific leaf problem. You might not even know there are different styles of gutter protection, but there are. And if you pick the wrong one, it could be a huge waste of money. Now, the big gutter guard companies won't tell you this. They try to sell you a one-size-fits-all gutter guard. And it could be completely wrong for the amount and types of trees and leaves you have. Not RGS Exteriors. We understand which kind of leaf problem needs which kind of gutter guard. We'll do an in-depth evaluation to assess the types, locations, and numbers of trees in your yard. Based on that data, we match your home to the right gutter guard. So don't risk wasting money on the wrong gutter protection. For a free evaluation and estimate, call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit rgsexteriors.com. That's 801-280-3110 or rgsexteriors.com.
If you've got a honey-do list with electrical, plumbing, heating, or air conditioning projects on it, Any Hour Services can help. Call Any Hour Services, electrical, plumbing, heating, and air. anyhourservices.com.
This portion of our news sponsored by Mountain America Credit Union's Business Services, real business, real success. KSL News Time 12:15. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
the Utah County Attorney announcing 9 felony counts against the man accused of hitting and killing Santaquin Police Sergeant Bill Hoosier, leaving the door open to seek the death penalty. I'm KSL News Radio's Amy Kobe.
Second, the city of Draper is looking to raise property taxes in order to give police officers more competitive pay. Third, traffic and weather together. Ricky?
We are looking at a crash-free, delay-free drive on all the Valley freeways, and that includes I-15 north or southbound between Willard Bay and Utah Lake. Some of our side streets, a little bit of busy traffic northbound on Redwood Road approaching 70th South. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
70s with partly cloudy skies and a very slight chance for a storm. I'm Matt Johnson.
Sunny, 72 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. President Biden quadrupling down, imposing 100% tariffs on key Chinese goods.
President Biden announcing new tariffs he says will ensure American workers are not held back by unfair trade practices by China.
It's not competition, it's cheating. And we've seen damage here in America.
The new tariffs are on $18 billion of Chinese goods, including a 100% tariff on electric vehicles made in China.
Because we're not going to let China flood our market, making it impossible for American auto manufacturers to compete fairly.
Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
In the hush money trial, cross-examination of Donald Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, expected to begin after the lunch break. Trump is accused of falsifying records to reimburse Cohen for payments made to Stormy Daniels ahead of the 2016 election. ABC's Aaron Katersky says prosecutors addressed some of Cohen's credibility issues before the mood shifts to Cross.
Why, in fact, did you pay that money to Stormy Daniels? Prosecutor Susan Hoffinger asked. To ensure, Cohen said, the story would not come out, so it would not affect Mr. Trump's campaign. And were it not for the campaign, would you have paid that money to Stormy Daniels? And Cohen said, no, ma'am. It's right in line with the prosecutor's theory of the case that after the Access Hollywood tape, Trump believed his campaign could not take another sex scandal.
In Central Florida, authorities say a bus filled with 53 migrants crashed after being sideswiped. 8 are dead, dozens others injured. Florida Highway Patrol Lieutenant Pat Reardon says a truck veered into the lane.
The school bus traveled off the roadway onto the grass shoulder where it went through a fence, struck a tree, and overturned.
Canadian author and Nobel Prize winner Alice Munro has died. The fiction writer known for Away from Her and The Bear Came Over the Mountain died at her home. She received the Nobel Prize for Literature in 2013. You're listening to ABC News.
Time for the KSL In-Depth. Salt Lake City is unveiling possible designs for the future of downtown. 4 conceptual designs have been released that could drastically change Main Street in the future. Peter Makowski, Deputy Director with Salt Lake's Business Development Division, spoke with KSL.com about some of the plans and the consulting firm that they are working with.
Our consultant that we use, Dig Studio out of Denver, Colorado, is heading the redesign of the 16th Street Mall in downtown Denver. And this is a redesign after they had already had a mall there for years. They realized that they had made some mistakes and that a redevelopment of the area was necessary. So it was really compelling reason for us to work with Dig Studio is that, you know, they have intimate knowledge of that project, which we agreed, you know, it's an Intermountain West, you know, pedestrian promenade. It has a transit component, and you know, we feel like they're taking on, you know, their designs for the new mall is influenced by lessons learned, you know, from a concept that maybe wasn't as successful as they had hoped. So we felt very fortunate to have them as our consultant. They were bringing that wealth of knowledge and experience to our project.
The city launched a new online survey today outlining the options that people can consider as the possible future of the street from South Temple to 400 South. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate on June 1st at all Sinclair locations. Here's Ricky Meese.
Recently, we've had a lot of busy noontime drives, but not today. It's pretty quiet out on the roads. Enjoy it while you can. If you're on any of the Valley freeways, you're looking good. No accidents or delays. I-15 in great shape both directions between Ogden and Provo. Our main secondaries, Legacy, Bangerter, Redwood Road, Mountain View, all in good shape. No accidents called out at this time and good speeds throughout. When adventure calls, a new Murdoch Hyundai is the answer. Lease a new 2024 Tucson for only $365 per month or 3.99% for 5 years. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast starts out with partly cloudy skies today, high of 76. And you know what? Just maybe a slight chance for a pop-up storm. 73, mostly sunny skies on your Wednesday, goes 78. Mostly sunny skies on Thursday. Friday, 82 degrees, mostly sunny. Partly cloudy, 76 on your Saturday. Sunday and Monday, adding more clouds, calling it mostly cloudy, with highs in the upper 70s. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, 72 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City, and the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Quick check of the markets, seeing a lot of numbers in the green. A complete update of your money news coming up next.
Listen to the greatest classical hits from the 1700s to today. The world-class Utah Symphony performs thoughtfully curated programs featuring timeless masterpieces by Strauss, Dvorak, and Tchaikovsky, and even world premieres from modern composers. The Utah Symphony's Masterworks concerts offer elegant and entertaining evenings at Marie Sabrovnal Hall in the heart of Salt Lake City. Tickets start as low as $21. Get yours at utahsymphony.org. You can stream your favorite show anytime, but the opera only happens 4 times per year. Join us and make new memories with your family and friends. Enjoy the entertaining stories, beautiful sets and costumes, and mesmerizing music. You deserve an elegant night on the town or a Sunday matinee with Utah Opera. Your couch will be there when you get back. Tickets start at $21. Get yours today at utahopera.org.
Singers, dancers, stilts, oh my. Don't miss Utah Opera's Thais.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
What drives you? At 303 Car Care, we're driven to put the best detailing products in your hands. We create every formula, fill every bottle, and test every batch of 303 at our Chicago headquarters, always with quality in mind. From cleaners and coatings to our flagship aerospace protective, you can trust that every 303 product does what the label says it's going to do. That's because 303 is driven by quality. Available at most auto retailers and Amazon.
Hey, my name is Chris Stewart. The question I have is, who can best represent us in Congress? And the answer to me is clearly Celeste. So in my life, I've been around some of the strongest leaders in the world. What is it that makes a good leader? Humility. The humility to listen, to actually consider what it is that they want, to try to help people. That's Celeste to her core. Celeste has shown up for me. She'll show up for you. She shows up for Utah.
Paid for by Celeste for Congress.
Looking for a secure retirement plan without market risk? Look no further. Lyle Boss, president of Boss Financial, specializes in no market risk retirement strategies with guarantees of principal, guaranteed growth, and lifelong income. Join Lyle right here each Saturday and Sunday for his Safe Money radio show and call him now at 855-355-SAFE for your complimentary customized Safe Money information kit and Safe Money book. Nothing but upside here at 855-355-SAFE.
Put the equity in your home to work with a home equity line of credit and get 6.49% APR for the first 6 months. Learn more at cypresscu.com.
KSL News Time 1225. Missionaries for the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints are gaining attention in part for their efforts online.
The New York Times published an article on Friday highlighting a 25% growth in missionaries. This has happened since post-pandemic restrictions have been lifted, and Russell M. Nelson gave a talk in 2022 urging young people to serve. There have also been some big changes when it comes to dress code and other mission rules, but one of the most popular developments is a big social media presence. Some missionaries are sharing a message, others are even dancing or singing.
Feel my Savior's love and know that He will bless me.
You'll find them on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and more. And it seems to be working. Britt Johnson, KSL News Radio.
Watching Utah's Money, Utah-based essential oil giant doTERRA is cutting jobs. The company let go of 7% of its workforce, which is around 300 people. The company says it's right-sizing and restructuring. People are putting off home improvement projects, and Home Depot is suffering. High interest rates are to blame. Sales dropped 2.3%, and shares fell by 2%. The government is launching another investigation into autopilot driving systems. This time, they're looking into crashes involving Waymo's self-driving vehicles. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration opened the probe after getting 22 reports of Waymo vehicles either crashing or doing something that may have violated traffic laws. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow up by 53 points. It sits at 39,484. S&P is up by 14, and the NASDAQ is up by 91 points. The David Eccles School of Business at the University of Utah is getting some national praise.
U.S. News & World Report ranks the school number 12 in the country for entrepreneurship.
Tony D'Ambrosio serves as the executive director of the Lassonde Entrepreneur Institute and as assistant dean at the School of Business.
Where the strength of our program lies is in the experiential learning, applied learning programs that we have for students, that they're actually engaged in directly in entrepreneurial endeavors.
He says for students looking to start a company, they have resources and funding available. They can help connect students with professionals like attorneys, and they even have office space available to run the business. Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
The familiar comforts that brighten a child's day
Her name is Opie. She's a cat.
can mean even more for those with serious health challenges.
I have a lot of friends. My little sister. My stuffies.
Primary Children's Hospital specializes in activities and therapies, so even the sickest of kids can still be kids.
They've got like dogs there. They help kids distract them from like when they get needles or whatever.
Your support makes it possible. Become a smile maker today at kslkids.com.
It's time to take your adventure to a new level in an RV from a Motorsportsland RV Center. Hurry in now for our Memorial Day pre-sale and save thousands on your next travel trailer, fifth wheel, motorhome, or toy hauler. Don't spend this Memorial Day weekend sitting at home when you can enjoy the marvels of nature right here in Utah. With a full season of camping just ahead, right now is the perfect time to get into the RV of your dreams. We've even got clearance models at over 50% off MSRP. At Motorsportsland RV Centers, we offer real prices without hidden fees for freight, prep, orientation, or even propane. If you sit down with another dealer to make a deal and they start adding all sorts of crazy fees, it's time to stand up, walk away, and come to a Motorsportsland RV Center for a hassle-free, low-pressure buying experience. Come and see us in Salt Lake, Mill Creek, Spanish Fork, or at motorsportsland.com.
Let Motorsportsland help you get away.
Motorsportsland.com.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate on June 1st at all St. Clair locations. And here's Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We are looking at a nice drive up and down the I-15 corridor in Weber, Davis, Salt Lake, and Utah counties. The rest of the Valley freeways, no accidents, no delays. Our main secondaries in good shape. We've got a little bit of busy traffic both directions of Bangor Highway approaching Shields Lane, 9800 south, but overall a quiet noontime drive. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Beautiful conditions in the temperature department. 76 today, partly cloudy skies, and a slight chance for a pop-up. 73 tomorrow, mostly sunny, up to 78 by Thursday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Just a beautiful day, sunny and 72 downtown. In Ogden, 69, Provo at 68. In St. George this hour, 81 degrees.
You're listening to Utah's New News with Maria Chaleos
on KSL News Radio,
102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time 1230. KSL's top story this hour. A project overhauling downtown Salt Lake's Main Street has a detailed report of what's possible. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera has more.
That report, conducted by the Salt Lake City Department of Economic Development, shows various concepts and costs to reimagine Main Street from South Temple to Fort South. Deputy Director Peter Mikowski shared why Main Street is usually avoided by drivers in general and is an opportunity to make it a pedestrian-first experience.
It's made it a little bit more difficult to drive on Main Street, so a lot of people tend to avoid it. There's very little parking. While there is on-street parking, there isn't much.
The probable cost listed in the report for the Main Street overhaul, $125 million. Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
The Cottonwood Canyons are preparing for construction season. Now that the ski season is over, there will be 5 different projects going on in Little Cottonwood through the summer. UDOT will kick things off by replacing a water pipe near Snowbird this week. There will be 2 big road closures in Big Cottonwood over the summer. Anglers are being asked to catch and keep any walleye caught from Strawberry Reservoir. KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi reports you must also report the catch to state wildlife officials.
Officials were alarmed when an angler reported catching a walleye last December. The fish is a predator in Strawberry and must have been illegally introduced. Spokesperson Faith Heaton-Jolly says the walleye prey on and outcompete the native fish.
And the new fish can also introduce diseases
because they weren't properly tested before being moved into that water body.
And now that the ice is off Strawberry, it's a critical time to make sure anglers report if they catch them and kill them to prevent reproduction and hopefully stave off more drastic eradication measures. Tammy Kikuchi, KSL News Radio.
Small brush fire in Hurricane came uncomfortably close to several homes last night. Videos show the fire near 1000 West and 2nd South. Firefighters were able to knock it down before it damaged any buildings. Investigators say the fire was started by kids. Salt Lake County Search and Rescue is preparing for a busy summer season. KSL TV's Lauren Steinbrecher rode along with them for a training session.
This is what it takes to prove someone is search and rescue ready on summer trails. 2 miles, 1,800 vertical feet in under 50 minutes. Squad leader Alexis Abelo says they respond to Mount Olympus regularly, making it the perfect place for the fitness test.
We want to make sure that all of our team members are able to successfully go to rescues.
The team says this time of year can be deceiving for anyone hitting the outdoors. KSL's top national stories. A traffic crash in Central Florida has left at least 8 people dead, many others injured. ABC's Jim Ryan has the latest.
A privately operated bus was transporting 53 workers to a watermelon field when, according to Florida Highway Patrol investigators, it was sideswiped by a pickup truck that was coming from the opposite direction. The bus left the 2-lane highway, went through a fence, and overturned in a field. FHP says 8 people died and 40 were hospitalized.
The bus was transporting farm workers. The driver of the pickup truck was also transported to the hospital with serious injuries. It's Independence Day in Israel, but the usually festive mood is being marred by the Gaza war. ABC's Jordana Miller reports from Jerusalem.
Israel marking 76 years since its founding amid the painful backdrop of the Gaza war. National ceremonies scaled back, air shows canceled, and politicians heckled by an increasingly angry and still traumatized public. A somber mood hanging in the air, many in no mood to celebrate, with 128 hostages still in Gaza, ceasefire talks stalling again, and a potential escalation in Rafah. Jordana Miller, ABC News, Jerusalem.
Other national stories KSL is following this hour. Wholesale prices rose by 0.5% in April, which is more than expected, in another sign of stubborn inflation. The 2.2% yearly increase was the largest jump in more than 12 months. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell says that that inflation is falling more slowly than expected, which will keep the central bank on hold for an extended period. Despite the push for more people to switch to electric vehicles, most of Salt Lake City's homes are not EV-friendly. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla explains.
Of the 2,000 homes currently listed in Salt Lake City, only 1.6% have chargers for electric vehicles, according to Realtor.com. Salt Lake City is also home to lots of older homes. The median age of homes in the city is 60 years old. Other metros and states are dealing with the same issue, and only 0.9% of U.S. homes are described as EV-friendly.
Salt Lake City itself has over 400 public chargers, half of which are free. First look traffic. What's happening, Ricky?
It's so quiet out there. It's a beautiful commute and a great day for a drive. If you're traveling the freeways or main secondaries, you are good to go. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:35.
KSL in the palm of your hand.
When the app came out, I knew that I could stream the radio station directly through there.
I just checked there to see if there's anything pertinent.
I regularly use the KSL app.
Get the app for KSL News Radio.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Transform your old, outdated kitchen with Half Price Granite. For a limited time, Half Price Granite is offering special pricing starting at $25 per square foot installed. That's lower than most big box stores. These prices are some of the lowest around. Granite, quartz, marble, and quartzite, all starting at $25 per square foot installed. Call 801-486-1700 or visit halfpricegranite.com. Half Price Granite, affordable luxury.
Les Olson IT now provides building security solutions. Do you need physical access control for your facilities? Are you looking for video surveillance systems accessible in the palm of your hand? Les Olson IT has what you need, and their low-voltage network cabling specialists will install it and make sure it's working the way it should. Learn more at lesolson.com.
Les Olson IT.
Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness.
Thank you for joining us for Utah's Noon News, recapping our top story this hour. City of Draper is considering raising property taxes. The increase would bring in $1.6 million and help the city pay police wages, make the city's police wages, I should say, more competitive. KSL News Time, 12:38. Summer-like weather is here, but allergy season is already impacting a lot of Utahns. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston has tips about how to help with the hay fever.
Experts are saying this year is going to bring more pollen and keep it around for longer, which can have an effect on you even if you haven't caught hay fever before. Allergy specialist Dr. Manan Shah.
As we have more carbon dioxide in our atmosphere due to climate change, allergy seasons are getting longer, they're starting earlier, and many people are feeling like they're getting worse.
So what to do? The Asthma and Allergy Foundation says to keep your windows closed, wash your clothes when you come inside, and use a high-efficiency particulate air filter. But if you've already got allergies, you can use saline washes for your nose or over-the-counter medicines to help. Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
Native plants that were nearing extinction in the Salt Lake Valley are now making a comeback. KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson has the story.
Tyler Murdoch, Deputy Director of the Salt Lake City Public Lands Department, says there are books that show more than 3,000 species of plants used to live in the Salt Lake Valley, but that's not the case anymore.
Even some of the places that we source plants from in the last 5 years have been developed into housing, commercial uses, so we just have lost a lot of our wetland areas.
Their department is now trying to find and collect plants and their seeds, grow them in greenhouses, and repopulate 5 wetland sites along the Jordan River watershed with greenhouses and partners at places like the University of Utah and the state prisons. They hope to bring biodiversity back to the Salt Lake Valley. Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
A popular trail in the Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument will be closed for the summer season. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit has more.
What we're looking at here is the ever-popular Lower Calf Creek Falls hike. The BLM is planning on giving parking and infrastructure at the trail a boost, while also rerouting the trailhead so it starts at the campground.
The trailhead will close on July 8th and remain closed until late summer or early fall. KSL News Time, 12:39. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Dino Days. Celebrate on June 1st at all Sinclair locations. Still pretty quiet out there, Ricky?
Oh, yeah. Right now, you have good speeds on all the Valley freeways. No accidents or delays, and even our main secondaries and side streets are pretty quiet at this time. We did have a little bit of busier and slower traffic moving through the construction on I-15 at Roy, but even that has eased. So it's a good-looking drive throughout the valley for your noontime commute. Even the downtown city streets, if you're out to grab a bite, no problems reported. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Springtime perfection. We've got 76 today. Partly cloudy skies generally, with a very slight chance to see a stray shower. 73, mostly sunny for your Wednesday. Thursday, 78, mostly sunny skies. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, very nice, 72 degrees, a lot of sunshine in downtown Salt Lake City. Coming up on Utah's new news, with 9 charges, including aggravated murder, now filed against the man accused of killing a Santa Quin police sergeant, is the death penalty on the table? We'll talk about it with KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas. That's next, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
When the weather warms up, it's like a stampede, except instead of dust stirred up by hundreds of hooves, it's a cascade of phone calls to Advanced Window Products. This is Jeff Kaplan. Soon as the sun shines and the snow's gone, people want new windows and frames from Utah's #1 custom window maker, and the wait for installation grows longer. But right now, you can get near the front of the line by calling for a quote and get $2,500 off when you purchase 10 windows or more. That's on top of the incredible savings for the highest quality double-pane windows and frames, any style, any color. See, at Advanced Window Products, they actually build the windows here in Utah, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. There's no middleman, and they can pass the savings on to you. They even offer buy now, pay later. So get in before the wait grows longer and get the $2,500 off. Get your new windows this spring. Make the call. Advanced Window Products, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100. Or visit AdvancedWindowsUSA.com.
Odds are, if you have a 401k, it's set up with your payroll provider or an insurance company. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and if you're using your payroll provider or an insurance company for your 401k, the employer may be overpaying for the plan, the employees may have blasé investment options, and those blasé investment options may cost more than they should. Not with Trajan Wealth. Call us today, 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Services offered through a third-party partner.
Les Olson IT is now a Ricoh Graphic Arts and Production Systems dealer. Ricoh chose Les Olson because of our reputation for superior service and national recognition. Les Olson IT chose Ricoh Graphics because they're the best value compared to other commercial-grade printers. Ricoh excels in high volume, high speed, high resolution, and offers an exciting 5th color. Learn more at lesolson.com.
Les Olson IT.
Springtime in Utah, and if you're a business owner that hates to paint, do what business owner Al did. He called Rhino Shield.
I was watching TV one night and saw the Rhino Shield ad, and I thought, well, if they can do a house, they can probably do a building.
Rhino Shield ceramic technology is formulated for our unique climate here in Utah and is Class 1 fire rated.
So they came out and they gave me a price, showed me how the Rhino works, how it lasts, and how the guarantee works.
Utah residential or business, get the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
They waited for us to leave, and they worked Saturday and Sunday so they wouldn't affect our business at all. This was the great part of it. I came back Sunday night, and you couldn't even tell they were here. There was no paint on the ground. They did a fantastic job.
Utah, this offer is limited, so call 435-246-4466, 435-246-4466, or visit RhinoShieldWest.com.
Go Rhino Shield.
KSL News Time 1245. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
a project that could change downtown Salt Lake's Main Street into a driverless promenade destination released an extensive report of what's possible to the tune of $125 million. I'm KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera.
Second, 9 charges, including aggravated murder, have been filed against the man accused of killing Santa Quin Police Sergeant Bill Hoosier. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
We've had a little bit of busy and slower traffic in the construction zone. Redwood Road at 700 North, but overall kind of quiet on the drive. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
70s with a minute chance for a pop-up storm. Then we'll go dry tomorrow. I'm Matt Johnson.
Sunny, 72 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Cross-examination of Donald Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, set to begin after the lunch recess. Cohen testified earlier that Trump reimbursed him for payments to Stormy Daniels ahead of the 2016 election to hide an alleged affair. Trump denies that. Trump getting support from Republicans, including House Speaker Michael Johnson today, who was at the courthouse courthouse. Here's ABC's Jay O'Brien.
I talked to a source close to the speaker about how all this came together. I'm told the speaker was already in New York for an unrelated event, and he volunteered to go with the former president to court today, and they rode together to the courthouse.
Airlines have joined in a lawsuit against the Transportation Department's new rules requiring airlines to disclose baggage and other hidden fees when customers buy tickets. Thousands of civilians have fled Rafah as Israel steps up its military operations, and battles also breaking out again in northern Gaza. This is ABC News.
Time for the KSL In-Depth. Formal charges were filed today against Michael Jane, the man accused of running down a Santa Quin police sergeant on I-15. Utah County Attorney Jeffrey Gray says the complaint filed today includes 9 felony charges.
Specifically, we have charged Mr. Jane with 1 count of aggravated murder, a capital felony, for intentionally or knowingly causing the death of Sergeant Bill Hoosier.
Joining me now live to talk about the charges is KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas. Greg, thanks for being with me today.
Nice to be with you, Maria.
Greg, what do you make of these charges?
Well, I think that the Utah County Attorney's Office had to go very hard on this case. I mean, they had an officer killed. There was a huge procession today with his body in terms of his funeral. And anytime an officer is killed in the line of duty, we take that very seriously. And it makes, in Utah, a murder case an aggravated murder. Killing a police officer is one of the aggravating factors that bumps that up to what could be potentially a death penalty or at least a capital offense. So, yeah, there are 9 counts. They're all felonies ranging all the way from the most serious felony we have in Utah down to the failing to respond to a police officer, which is basically the evading, and then lots of counts in between, including multiple first-degree felonies that carry up to life in prison.
Right. You mentioned the death penalty. How certain are you that this is a death penalty case, and why?
Well, it remains to be seen, Maria, and often the county, I've done cases from both the prosecution side and the defense side, often the county will go to the victim's family and say, look, do you want to have this prolonged procedure with the death penalty where we know that nothing's going to happen for 10 or 20 years, or would you rather he just got life in prison without the possibility of parole? And those decisions have to be made all the time. Right now, I think everyone is looking at this as a death penalty case. No ifs, ands, or buts. But things change over time, and maybe the state will decide that having him locked up for the rest of his life will be enough. Who knows?
They're keeping pretty quiet about a lot of the details in this case. Why is this case different in that way?
Well, first of all, it happened not long ago. I mean, the crime actually occurred just on May 5th, and so they've had to charge it very quickly. When somebody's in custody, the state usually has to get some charges filed very quickly. So that's taken a lot of their time just to get the charges filed. And then because it involved multiple jurisdictions, multiple counties, I mean, it started in Utah County, went down to Juab County, over to Sanpete County, across into the Uinta Basin, into Duchesne and Uinta County. And so you've got a lot of law enforcement agencies from a lot of different areas, prosecutors trying to work together. So we're like you say, we're still at the very early stages of this.
All right. Thank you so much, Greg.
You bet.
Live on the KSL Newsline, that is KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate on June 1st at all St. Clair locations. What's going on, Ricky?
Freeway traffic still in really good shape. We have had some busy traffic, a sudden uptick of busy traffic on a lot of the downtown surface streets, especially 4th West, 3rd West, State Street, and Main. So, but that's really between North Temple and about 6 South. So nothing major going on. Your main secondaries also in good shape at this hour. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-8 forecast has today generally dry, 76 degrees, partly cloudy skies, but we can't rule out a stray pop-up thunderstorm. Mostly sunny, 73 for Wednesday. Thursday, 78. Hey, we're up to 82 by Friday, mostly sunny skies. Then we'll go to mid-70s on your Saturday. Partly cloudy skies. More clouds expected Sunday and Monday. As a couple of storms graze the state, we'll keep it mostly cloudy for now. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
So nice, 72 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. And the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Quick check of the markets, a lot of positive numbers today. Complete update of your money news coming up next. In the past couple of months, I've learned that it doesn't take an hour of vigorous exercise every day to lose weight. With the help of Salt Lake City Fat Loss, I lost 25 pounds in just 60 days. Their meal plan literally eliminated my biggest frustration with dieting because you drop the weight so quickly. And I've just been eating a healthy combination of foods. It's not a fad diet. There are no expensive prepackaged meals. And this is a great way to slim down for summer. Right now, you can save $200 on the plan just by dropping my name, Maria. Go to slcfatloss.com to schedule your free consultation. It's really easy to do. You can do it in person or you can do it virtually. Just mention Maria sent you. Call 801-450-1882 or go to slcfatloss.com. slcfatloss.com.
Achieving the extraordinary, getting things done. That's the Utah way. And that's Brad Wilson. He delivered the biggest tax cut Utah's ever seen, keeping more money in your pocket. And on the Second Amendment, when others caved, Brad Wilson stood tall, enacted constitutional carry. Wilson stood up to the EPA, sued Joe Biden to protect Utah's energy industry, and won. And when others backed down on illegal immigration, Wilson didn't buckle. He banned sanctuary cities. In the U.S. Senate, he'd bring the Utah way to Washington, taking Joe Biden's agenda head on. That's why over 60 mayors, 22 sheriffs, and leading conservatives across Utah are supporting Brad Wilson for U.S. Senate, because Brad Wilson's the tested, trusted Utah conservative for U.S. Senate. Join them and thousands more supporting Brad Wilson at electbradwilson.com.
I'm Brad Wilson, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Wilson for Senate.
Cindy Olsen here. My friends at Dave's Bernina in St. George and Provo are having a big spring sale, so you can get her the sewing machine that she dreams of. Whether it's for mom, sister, daughter, or the new graduate, the perfect gift for her is at Dave's Bernina. Come in now. The more you spend, the more you will save, such as $200, $500, and even $1,000 discounts when spending $2,000 to over $10,000 on Bernina sewing, quilting, and embroidery machines. Burnett machines start at $199 and take $900 off the Bernina $435, only $1,499. Featuring for a limited time, 2.99% finance offer for 60 months on certain machines, 25% off all luggage and big sewing books. Hurry in for amazing bargains on trade-ins, classroom, and demo machines that come with warranties. Dave's Bernina, 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North 550 West in Provo.
Enjoy the 20th annual Soldier Hollow Sheepdog Classic, presented by Purina Pro Plan and sponsored by Powder River and IFA Country Stores. Family fun not to miss. Visit SoldierHollowClassic.com.
KSL News Time 1254. Airlines are filing a lawsuit against the Transportation Department saying they overstepped their bounds when requiring airlines to disclose fees tacked on to check a bag or change a reservation. ABC's Gio Benitez reports.
Airlines for America, that's the lobbying group for the major U.S. airlines, saying this: airlines go to great lengths to make their customers knowledgeable about these fees. The ancillary fee rule by the Department of Transportation will greatly confuse consumers who will be inundated with information that will only serve to complicate the buying process.
Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg has said that these fees can add up without a customer's knowledge, and it could save Americans over $500 million per year. Watching Utah's money, 3 rival streaming services are joining forces. Peacock, Netflix, and Apple TV will now be offered together at a discount under a bundle called Stream Saver. Service will be exclusively available to Comcast Internet customers. The Endless Shrimp is really messing with Red Lobster. The restaurant chain is closing dozens of locations. They are also considering filing for bankruptcy. Krispy Kreme is teaming up with Dolly Parton. The new donuts are themed after good old Southern cooking like peachy keen cobbler and banana pudding pie. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow up by 120 points, sitting at 39,551. S&P is up by 22. The NASDAQ is up by 116 points. planning is ramping up for this year's Utah Asian Festival.
Back in 1977, the governor of Utah approached leaders of the Filipino, Chinese, Japanese, and Korean community to establish the Asian Association of Utah to help with the influx of refugees coming from Southeast Asia. That's how the Utah Asian Festival was born. 2 years ago, Emilio Manuel Camus approached the committee and offered to help get his generation involved so they could pass on the torch.
They wanted to retire, but we didn't let them. And we're like, no, we still need your help. But they really saw the effort and the passion and the love that we have.
Camus is now the committee chair. When I attended their last weekly planning meeting, the younger generation of volunteers outnumbered their founding members. Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
In real estate, it's all about the amenities. I should know. I'm an agent.
At Hyundai, all of our models offer first-class features, like Android Auto, an available Bose premium audio system, heated front and rear seats, and wireless device charging.
It's like an upscale home on wheels in here.
It's your journey. Own every mile.
Right now, lease the Hyundai Tucson for $229 a month or get up to $2,000 retail bonus cash. See your Utah Hyundai dealer. Offers end 6/3/24. Call 480-500-7931 for details.
The life of a small business owner. Keeping the lights on, calling all the shots. And then there's workplace accidents. 500-degree ovens, rusty nails. Danger lurks around every corner. Workplace accidents can happen, but there is an easy way to keep your employees covered. Talk to your agent about workers' comp coverage from Pi, or go to piinsurance.com and get a quote. Safety first, then Pi Insurance. Individual rates, offerings, and savings may vary, subject to policy terms and conditions. Not available in all states and situations.
Don't pay retail for your diamond engagement ring or gift. Come to CleanOrigin.com. Founded by a leading family in the diamond industry for more than a century, we're experts in lab-grown diamonds because that's all we do. Clean Origin, the only diamond jewelers who give you a 100-day, no questions asked return on your purchase. Head to CleanOrigin.com or one of our retail stores and mention code Radio10 for 10% off your purchase. That's CleanOrigin.com, code Radio10.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Any Hour Services can help unclog any drain in your house, whether you have a backup, a clog, or a slow drain you want fixed. Call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Visit the contest page on KSLNewsRadio.com. This week, show us your herd, and you could win tickets to the Soldier Hollow Sheepdog Classic coming this Memorial Day weekend. Upload a photo of your favorite animal to win, or win tickets to the Utah Symphony as they perform Scheherazade, May 17th and 18th at Abravanel Hall. Enter now. Text the word contest to 57500 or go to KSLNewsRadio.com/contests.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Dino Day. Celebrate on June 1st at all Sinclair locations. Latest on the drive, here's Ricky.
Wrapping up on a quiet note, no accidents, no delays. Valley Freeway traffic rolling along. Our main secondary is also in good shape. We've had busy traffic, and this has become pretty common. East and westbound 33rd South at about 20th East, but overall, no problems reported on the roads. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Taking a look at the forecast for the Wasatch Front. Just beautiful weather this week. Today's high 76. A little bit cooler tomorrow, but still 73 degrees and back up to 78 on Thursday. Friday, 82 degrees. Right now in downtown Salt Lake City, 73 and a lot of sunshine.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 1 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bonas. KSL's top story this hour. Formal charges filed today against Michael Jane, the man accused of running down a Santaquin police sergeant on I-15. Utah County Attorney Jeffrey Gray says the complaint filed today includes 9 felony charges.
Specifically, we have charged Mr. Jane with 1 count of aggravated murder, a capital felony, for intentionally or knowingly causing the death of Sergeant Bill Hoosier.
Jane is also charged with attempted murder, kidnapping, burglary, and auto theft. His first court appearance set for tomorrow afternoon. Walleye have been illegally introduced into Strawberry Reservoir, and Wildlife Resources spokesperson Faith Eaton Jolly says they're asking anybody who catches a walleye to report it and destroy it. She says people need to realize not a good idea to move live fish from one fishery to another.
They may just be passionate anglers and they're like, hey, it would be fun to fish for this species at this water body and try to take matters into their own hands. But in addition to just really negatively impacting other fish, it is actually also illegal.
There's a $5,000 reward for information leading to the conviction of whoever put the walleye in that lake. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up on the day 128 points. The NASDAQ is up 119. And our KSL weather looks like we'll have a sunny day, and then things will be warming up a bit. That's next. KSL News Time 101.
News doesn't just mean information or dates.
It's the story of our local history being told in real time.
Be a part of the story. This is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
We hope to be a part of your story. We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money. But do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At Capital Wealth Advisors, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call the Capital Wealth Advisors team today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 801-210-5500. That's 801-210-5500. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. Capital Wealth Advisors, 801-210-5500. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor. Firm may not give tax advice.
What does an Olympic venue, Memorial Weekend, live music, delicious food, 20 years of family fun, and 4-legged canine athletes gathered from all over the world have in common? The 20th anniversary of the Soldier Hollow Sheepdog Classic, presented by Purina Pro Plan, with new date, May 24th through 27th. Enjoy a weekend filled in the beautiful Soldier Hollow Mountains.